doing? Hey, for fuck's sake.
And we're live.
We are
Yes,
live.
we are. It's not a question mark. We are live.
And it
on
is
a
a Sunday.
splendid sunny Sunday in London.
Very sunny Sunday, man. We are being blessed with a lot of rays right now. We are being blessed with a very sunny afternoon stroke evening. How are you doing, man?
Don't worry me, though. It's too sunny now, bro.
It's getting too hot. Or
Doom prophecy, the earthquakes are increasing. The prophecies are coming in.
Well, they keep on happening.
Volcanoes are boiling. Tempers are boiling. I saw a fight nearly break out in East London in a pub. This scaffolder was what was it? Saturday night? No, hang on. Friday night? Oh yeah, Friday night, because I went to the have you ever heard of Critical Mass, the cycling sort of demonstration through London? They do them all over the world.
No.
Critical Mass. It's really cool. Everyone gets on bikes and they set out, they have like the sound systems, and they set out from South Bank last Friday of every month. And they go to like a sort of a mysterious destination each time. So occasionally they'll do things like they'll drive through, go through tunnels like where they're not supposed to go, like Blackwall Tunnel or something. Basically, it's an amazing operation. It's kind of like being in the Tour de France. Before you know it, you've travelled miles. So we went from South Bank and ended up, in the middle of, I don't know if it's Forest Hill or which is South London. I don't know anything about South London, but it's on top of a big hill overlooking Canary Wharf and the Isle of Dogs. And there were sound systems, there was cheap drinks up there, and then eventually we rode back to Tower Bridge. But it was pretty cool up there. It seems to be a Neolithic site because it had like a 360 panoramic view of the surrounding. You could see Canary Wharf and the Isle of Dogs, but all around there were just trees where you couldn't see. But that's usually such sites as that are usually Neolithic ritual sites, or at least it'd be an iron fort or something. And there were two sort of Bronze Age burial mounds I saw nearby. So yeah, but before that, fight nearly broke out. Yeah, some scaffolder was in East End pub with his ass out, and then someone got the ump and said, "Put your ass away." And it was so stupid though. This guy was really mouthy. But yeah, nothing really happened. There was just a lot of noise up and down the street, but just when the temperatures are rising, tempers flare, and for some reason, scaffolders walk into pubs with their asses hanging out. But then I suppose they're so used to that kind of. So there was the builder's crack in it, But you got to know when you're off the job, you put the crack away. Do you know what I mean? It's suppose you're off. Do you know what I mean? Put the builder's crack away.
But yeah, I mean, I've been hearing about East London a lot. Actually, it's kind of like, is it improving or is it getting worse? I don't know, because like whoever I talk to, they seem to think that it's getting either worse or better. And I don't really know who to believe. I mean, like, because you're more sort of West London, aren't you? In terms of where you live, you're more. I think. Am I wrong in that? Sorry, is it?
Yeah. We're gonna send the assassination squads around now, please.
When I say London,
you're gonna get the gang stalkers now, mate. Give them away my location. You were on your footy stream, weren't you? I heard you, and you started talking about the sun, and then you suddenly had someone hanging out your window. I think you got gang stalkers pricking their ears up, bro.
Well, this is the unfortunate reality of living in a ground floor flat in the place where I live, let's say. So yeah, I don't know what the hell they were doing. They fucked off though, thankfully, before there was the need to progress things. So yeah, so that is that. Ground floor flats are a tricky thing to do, and also like the flats that we live in as well, the houses that we live in the UK. If people like are listening outside of the UK, don't necessarily realize they are made for winter. They are made to retain heat. So when it's 30 degrees like it is today, they retain the 30-degree heat. That's not really necessarily what they're supposed to be doing. That's just kind of like that. Just like contributes to it being a more difficult heat experience. But I've got like 2 fans here on me. I've got like 2 good fans, so I'm doing okay.
Okay, yeah. So, what shall we start with? We've got a choice of. We've got UFOs in Colombia. It might be interesting to you.
Probably start with that usual thing, which is the weekly update at the end of the world.
End of the world watch.
Yeah, end of the world watch. I mean, it's in the next watch. Especially if you're in Japan right now, you want to be very interested.
Doommageddon.
Yeah,
let's get the earthquakes. Yeah, let's check it out.
I meant to watch Stefan's latest video. I saw he put a video up. I haven't watched it yet.
Any problem with all this hot weather? My window's open, and bloody kids are bouncing balls outside, and there's aircraft passing, but I hope it's not disturbing the stream too much.
I can't hear any background noise.
No, that's all right, man. Yeah. So what we've got going on here? 79 kilometers. That's 24th. So actually, here we are. Here we are. Gleefully rubbing his hands at the earthquake. No. Japan. It's homing in on Japan, bro. It's in line with the 5th of July prophecy. But there's an update about that, actually. So what have we got here? Future shock. Where's this?
We've got 5.4.
It's quite diverse sort of potential arena of chaos here, isn't it, really, with these earthquakes and things, right?
Well, look
USA, India, 5.4. I mean, I don't really know how powerful a 5.4 is. You'd feel it, right?
I mean, what you're starting, basically the ones that you feel are starting like from 6 and above, really.
Yeah.
But the fact that
these are all sea. Where's that? That's in the sea, man. Because that's part of the prophecy of the 5th of July is that it'll be a sea sort of undersea volcanic eruption, creating a massive tsunami, bigger than even in 2011.
This is what we are told, apparently.
Yeah, but there's an update. There's like extra information which will literally just come out in a few days, because it seems that because of this show, perhaps, but seriously, people are keeping away from Japan. They're not visiting. There's a strong awareness of this prophecy in the Far East, and so much so that a few what's this, 29th of June, this actually came out today. This is an article, I think, the Mail Korea Business Insider. So the Koreans are covering this. There's another article which is somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Chosun Biz. I don't know what that is. Is that Korean? Chosun. Kangjang-a. And it's an article claiming that there's a revision in this disaster prediction. So we'll go into that. Should we start with a bit of Stefan Burns? I mean, listen. Since we started talking about earthquakes, we'll start with Steph. Giving him, he's going to note the earthquakes. This came out about 12 hours ago, I think.
This is a guy who gives us a sort of weekly update in terms of like what's going to happen. Yeah. And especially with the sun, he's a definite sun expert. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean he reads tabloids and likes teddies on page 3, right? That means he's like heliography or something.
Days of page 3.
Heliography. So yeah, heliography, heliology? Study of the sun. Oh man, it's so fiddly. I need a little jingle to play while I'm trying to share screens because right, okay.
No, it's fine. We're gonna get a sheet.
We've got aliens come. We've got an alien thing. That'll make you happy there, Future Shock.
I mean, aliens always make.
We've got weird balls, mate. We've got weird flying balls. Yeah, flying balls.
Decided to sort of fly around in balls. That's great.
And we've got good footage of a flying ball in Colombia. It's really interesting footage. Have you not seen it?
Those bloody ball flying aliens. No, I've not seen it. I look forward to seeing that for sure.
It's like, yeah, it reminds me of the thing that the Foo Fighters, not the band, obviously, but you know, the real phenomenon that the GIs, the pilots experienced. You know, these weird like electromagnetic balls and flashes and things like that. Spherical objects.
That Tic Tac thing or something like that.
Tic Tac.
There was that Tic Tac object that a bunch of people saw, wasn't it? From the bloody, what do you call it? The army, the military, whatever. They saw like a Tic Tac shaped object. They called it sort of thing. I don't know if it's the same thing.
Okay, so we're just going to start with Stefan Burns, yeah, and then we can talk about UFOs and things like that. So this is just about the earthquakes, because just sort of leading from the earthquake chat, you know.
NOAA is showing for this
Can you
coronal
hear
mass
that?
ejection, not a
Yeah.
strong one, but at least something. We did just have that high-speed stream impact, which sent the solar wind up to 700, even 800 kilometers per second at times. And what occurred after that was a flurry of earthquakes. Let's check it out. Here we have our USGS latest
All right, so
earthquake
we're going
map.
to check out the earthquakes. I mean, I just do sometimes worry if this is a bit macabre. I mean, but what do you think, Future Shock?
Well, the thing is, he keeps kind of like, well, what I would want to know, I
We've got to
suppose,
be ready, haven't we? I mean, there's something going on with these earthquakes.
what's the
solar
trend?
activity, you know?
What's the trend? Why is there a trend towards this right now? That's the thing.
Yeah, that's it. We're just watching we're watching the trend.
For
Watching
all
the trend of the end of the world, perhaps.
earthquakes
Yeah.
magnitude 4.5 and greater for the past 7 days. We will switch that so we can see these earthquakes that popped off on the San Andreas Fault. But first, let's just look at all the earthquakes that have occurred since that magnitude 6.6 that happened in the Scotia Sea. Quite a lot of
6.6.
earthquakes since then. Some days you
Yeah, 6.6 pretty high then, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Scotia Sea. Okay.
will check the 24-hour.
Japanese tsunami
Sorry,
was-
go ahead.
I was just going to say the Japanese tsunami was estimated to be between 7 and 8, just for perspective.
Gosh, right. Yeah. What, the predicted one? What?
No, the actual tsunami was they said
Uh-huh.
it was like 7.4 or something. So 6.6 is obviously quite close to that. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, go on. Sorry.
Data, and there won't be any earthquakes in that magnitude 5 range. Whereas here, if you look, we see a 5.2, 5.1, 5.1, 5.4, 5.3,
You can't tell me this
5.1,
isn't a lot of
5.1, 5.3, 5.1, and then finally our 6.6 in the Scotia Sea. That was at 8:32 a.m. Universal Time yesterday on the
Yesterday?
28th. And then we also had a 6.1 here in the Philippines just a bit before that. And that was specifically at 23:07 Universal Time on the 27th. So about 9 hours in between. That follows up on another magnitude 6.1 earthquake that occurred just nearby. Actually, a 6.2. We discussed that on the channel as it happened.
So that's the gist, is that, you know, there's a flurry of tectonic and earthquake activity. A lot of it is undersea. So this takes us to this prediction for the 5th of July. What do you remember about it, Future Shock?
This is a lady who has got a lot of predictions correct, and now she's predicting that the 5th of July is including, by the way, in the same area in Japan, the tsunami of like 15 years ago ish. And now she's predicting that there's going to be another catastrophic event in a few days, just a few days from now.
So, okay, I've got a couple of shorts. I'm going to open these. I mean, I don't mean what I'm wearing on my legs. I just mean I'm going to
God,
start.
no.
No, God, no. But it is hot enough, though. Do you know what I mean?
We're only 14 minutes into
I saw
the
you
show.
on your footy stream. You had no shirt on, sir.
I can't do it, man. I can't do it. It's so hot in here, man. Seriously. I've got 2 fans on me at the moment.
2 fans? What, of your footy
Yeah.
stream?
2 fans, and they're just what can I say about the fans? Big up to the fans. I appreciate
big up the fans. Yeah, big them up.
We appreciate them every time. But yeah, so is this like this lady then, like, as we know?
No, she's a manga artist. I think she's in her 70s, like literally now. But she's a manga artist who had these dreams through the 70s and 80s, and she dreamt the specific the month and year of Freddie Mercury's death, and she predicted that something terrible would happen on 11th of March 2011. Is that the day of that's the Fukushima? Well, I remember it for the Fukushima, but it's a massive.
Yeah, it was 2011. Yeah.
So yeah, listen, I'll just run these shorts through because they're quite good. They're quite good at just getting through to the facts, and probably won't get a copyright strike for using them. So in a second.
Yeah, running through. I'm just going to be back in 1 sec. Sorry.
All right, I'm just going to play these through then. Yeah.
Dreamed of the end of the world, and it might be coming true. In 1999, Ryo Tatsuki published a book filled with strange sketches, each one drawn after a vivid dream she had. Some were eerily accurate. She predicted the 2011 Japan tsunami, down to the year. But one dream she called the Dream of July 2025 showed a massive catastrophe, and she said nothing could stop it. Buildings crumbled, people vanished, the sky turned dark. She said July 2025 would be a major turning point for humanity. Some think it's just a coincidence. Others say we should be preparing. What do you think? Is it just a dream or a warning? Follow for more real prophecies and the hidden stories behind.
Okay, so that's a pretty slick AI short. I'm going to play another one. So our fantastic listeners know what's going on.
Yeah, thank you to the listeners. I can already see that our numbers are quite high already on YouTube, which is good. And yeah, big up to you guys who are locked in. It's a bloody nice day. It's a bloody nice day.
Locked in on a bloody nice day as well, yeah.
It is a bloody nice day. A couple of Yorkshire guys trying to figure out what.
I hope you're sipping beer at least. I hope people are drinking beer. That's the only thing you can do on a day like this.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Not promoting alcoholism, but you know.
Yeah, we're not promoting alcoholism, but a nice cold beer right now is a nice thing to experience as a human.
A nice cold beer every day when you wake up in the morning. That's not that.
Well, this is the kind of thing. But this is the kind of thing that, like, when people talk about AI, sorry to just interrupt for one sec, but like when people talk about AI, it's kind of like AI can do so much, but can it feel what it feels like to, you know, have a beer or what it feels like to go out into the sun? Do you know what I mean?
I guess not. I'm honest with you. I don't think so. No.
But do you think that
probably
maybe
what could feel that is something that has like a light sort of sensitive receptor? I mean, there are so many. I don't know. I mean, at what point do those chemical reactions become conscious energy? That's
exactly what I was going to say, basically. So it's kind of like, how do you kind of plot out, I suppose, in a chemical way, what the reaction is? So, like, yeah, I can know everything there is to know about color. I can know the wavelengths and all the various forms of color that there are. It's mirroring the black and white room kind of thing. And I can go outside and I can like go, okay, this is green, the trees are green, and the house across the road is white, and the bricks are red, and blah blah blah. But is it possible to program something, to program into something that is not necessarily biological, I suppose, what it feels like?
It's probably not possible. It certainly isn't. I'll go out on a limb and say it's impossible.
But I would say, what is the feeling though? But my reaction is the same as yours. But then I also think, like, what is the feeling? Is the feeling also just a chemical reaction? And then if it is, then it can be
electromagnetic, isn't it? So the key is electromagnetic. That's everything. That's everything passes through your senses and your thoughts like that as EM energy.
Oh yeah, definitely. The electromagnetic energy is everything, isn't it?
So yeah, let's just go to this thing here because we've got a bit to get through about this. Yeah.
On July
is that okay? Is that coming? Can you hear that? Oh
yeah.
No, is it working? All right, cool.
2025. That's the date tied to one of Japan's creepiest modern prophecies. In 1999, manga artist Ryo Tatsuki published The Future I Saw, based entirely on her dreams. She predicted the 2011 Japan tsunami to the exact day. But her next warning? A massive undersea quake near Japan on July 5th, 2025, with a tsunami even bigger than 2011. And some online theorists go further, saying it could spark a major shift, a forced merger of Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Japan. And here's the scary part. Japan's own experts say there's an 80% chance of a massive quake with magnitude 8 to 9 in the near future. Do not go to Japan on July.
Okay, how do you feel?
What do you mean by
you were going to go to Japan? Would you now avoid the place on July 5th?
I'm gonna have to sell my tickets. But yeah, it's like But what do you mean by near future? Near future can mean a lot of things. I mean, I don't know what, like, different people's interpretation.
I suppose the point is, though, everything's coinciding to this moment, isn't it? So if you look at the earthquake activity, the solar activity, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the point is, if you're going to sort of try and make a prophecy, or, you know, you're trying to support that a prophecy could be coming true, then you try and find the things that could make that earthquake or whatever has happened, which is solar activity, a solar maximum. We've got the facts from our mate Dr. Stephen Burns. Actually, I don't know if he's a doctor, geophysicist, Dr. Stephen Burns. So I don't know. That's the only thing, when things start to come together, and it's things actually would be the kind of time when something like that could happen. But anyway, listen, there's been an update. So there's 2 new articles that have appeared in the past few days, and apparently Rio Tatsuki itself has commented, but it's hard to know where the truth lies, really, because this article here, let's see that one, Mail Business Insider. Can you see that there, Future Shark?
Yeah.
Okay, so Wajima, Ishikawa Prefecture, January 10th, 2024. Gosh, at that time, more than 200 people were killed in 7.6 magnitude earthquake.
Yeah, that's 7.6.
So this article's been updated today. Apparently, rumors spreading that major earthquake will occur in July in Japan. A series of small earthquakes have occurred in the Tokara Islands already, further spreading apparently unfounded rumors. This, according to this article, right? But look, I think you mentioned this before, I'm not sure, but according to Yomiuri Shimbun, on the 29th, 525 earthquakes. Is that the 29th of this month? In which case, this is quite a very recent article.
Yeah.
Seen that? 525 with a magnitude of over 1. The 21st of the month to 6 p.m. Unlike the scale that means absolute intensity, magnitude, which is the earthquake rating of Japan meteorology, is a relative concept. It shows the feeling of people in the area and the degree of shaking. 1 has the weakest shaking and 7 has the strongest. So that's a magnitude. That's a different thing from the Richter scale, apparently. More than 40.
What is the difference between magnitude and Richter scale then? Because like
they just explained it. It's just magnitude apparently is a relative concept, how much shaking there is. Yeah. So, and it's a scale between 1 and 7. So
then how? I don't know. All I would say, how is the Richter scale
agency measure it in magnitude?
I heard the bird then.
Yeah. So the area around Cook Islands is close to Ryukyu Trench, where the Philippine version goes under the Eurasian version. This could be the key place. There are also many volcanic islands. So they're giving you the facts, and they're actually making you even more afraid, and possibly there might be something in it. But it seems to be like a damage limitation exercise where they want to reduce panic, because there's a sense that the people are aware of this. It's quite heavily reported now.
Yeah.
The law of Takara states that if a series of earthquakes occur off the Takara Islands, then a major earthquake will occur in other places afterwards. Right? So that's another sort of node. It's another sort of data node for why this could happen. You know? See, it's another prophecy. You with it, yeah? You following this, yeah?
Yeah, I'm fine. There's
no scientific basis for this, yeah. But
well, like they say, Japan is prone to earthquakes. It's not uncommon for earthquakes to occur. It's just the kind of like it's the trend, isn't it? Is what
525 in a month. Though I'd be squeamish.
Yeah, 525 in a month is not somewhere I would like to move to to live my life. To be honest.
Okay, so it's known to have an 80% probability of occurring within 30 years. So yeah, Hong Kong and elsewhere, rumors have circulated that a major earthquake would occur based on a cartoonist. Oh yeah, well, we know Ryu Tatsuki. So the rumors are now in Hong Kong, and so the East is talking about this. This is weird because it calls hair a he. It makes me wonder if this is an AI article, but what do you think? This could be an AI. It doesn't mean
He doesn't read. He doesn't necessarily read like AI. He might just be kind of like a fucked up article.
Oh, they write really good AI articles. AI articles are hardly distinguishable now. So
There's a certain way in which I was having this debate with someone the other day. There's a certain way that ChatGPT and that writes. You can kind of, if you interact with ChatGPT quite a lot, you can kind of like tell when something's written by it. But I do get that, like, if you're doing a more long form thing, yeah, it's a little bit tricky. It is a bit tricky, to be fair.
okay, so this is weird because apparently he, even though it's a hair, is now sort of denying it now. But there's another article. I'm not sure about this. There's no source for this. I don't think this article's real, and I think there's a lot. It's very weird. Tatsuki recently said it's not a day when something happens. According to Sankei Shimbun on the 25th, so we do Hake, we had this a few days ago. Tatsuki explained that the earthquake on July 5th, there's also an idea that it was published based on the intention of the publisher, and it was not what I wanted. He apparently. He also explained there's a possibility the editor may have heard and written the date. I don't believe this article's real. I'm not sure. He denied specifying a date for the earthquake, but maintaining his position at large. But, so this is really strange. He denies a date, but maintains the position that a large-scale disaster will likely to occur in July. So what do you think of that? What do you make of that?
Well, I think we're gonna, our next Sunday show is going to be July the 6th. So potentially we are going to be we're going to be reporting on some havoc.
But I wonder what to make of this. What do you make of that? Have you got any analysis that why is this a real article? Why have they said it might not be the 5th, but it's going to happen in July? What do you think?
It's a little bit
real article.
It's a little bit disconcertingly vague, isn't it? It's like, you know, if you're going to have some information, like have like a specific sort of like point that it leads to. But yeah, I don't know.
This feels like coercion. I think it's positive that you're showing high interest as evidence of a growing awareness of disaster. I think AI said that. That's the kind of thing AI would say. Satsuki said, "I hope this interest will lead to safety measures and preparations." It's an odd one, but what's the name we've been given? Sankei Shimbun. Well, I don't know who that is. So if we find, maybe this person doesn't even exist, but who is Sankei Shimbun? Name short. Oh, it's a newspaper. It's a Japanese newspaper. Okay, so apparently it's reported in Japan. But there is another article which is a slightly different but interesting perspective. And I think that's from, it's a similar article actually, but I'll just post that up because I think there's some slight differences in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting stuff in terms of kind of like, well, this country is obviously on a line. It's on it's on a very active tectonic sort of area, isn't it? Japan.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, so it's kind of like you're not too sure how to take it. However, also on the other side, you can be like, well, if there's increased activity there, then yeah, that kind of shows that something is changing. If there's increased activity on a tectonic line, area,
of course.
It's already the thing. Like then that just shows that something's happening. Do you know what I mean?
So this came out on the 26th. So Ryo Tatsuki revises disaster prediction, dropping specific date. So that seems to be something in common, that the date is not specific now, but that something could happen. So Japanese manga artist Ryo Tatsuki has changed to her stance. They got the gender right. She's known for predicting the Great East Japan earthquake and the COVID-19 epidemic. Sankei Shimbun reported on 24th. Tatsuki still claims that the great disaster itself in July will occur, but she's changed her mention of the specific date.
Right.
All right. So something's still going to happen in July, according to her. And she's literally updated this days ago, according to Sankei Shimbun, the Japanese newspaper. Right. So here's what she says in the book, though. I mean, presumably this has been researched and such. So the seabed between Japan and the Philippines will erupt, and tsunamis will surge into countries around the Pacific. The height of tsunami will be about 3 times that of the Great East Japan earthquake. If the date I dreamed of matches the actual date, the next disaster will occur July 5th at 4:18 a.m. I don't know if that's local time. I suppose it must be. See, the prophecy has spread across Asia, selling a million copies of the book, caused a stir. Feng Shui experts in places like Hong Kong citing the predictions. Demand for travel to Japan has decreased, prompting Greater Bay Airlines, a low-cost carrier, to reduce its flights from 3 times to twice a week. Many people in Hong Kong believe in Feng Shui, and there are quite a few travelers who are worried about disaster prediction.
What's Feng Shui got
flights to prevent losses?
What has Feng Shui got to do with?
I honestly don't know. You can look it up if you want, and let us know. However, Tatsuki revised her stance in a recent published book, stating, "It seems that what I said was reflected in the book based on past experiences, not necessarily something will happen on the day I dreamed." But it's still going to be July.
So it's like
it's very interesting. I wonder if someone's leaned on her.
So it's kind of like her sort of get out clause a little bit, isn't it?
Perhaps, but I mean. Then there's the science. It's impossible to predict, but I mean, okay, interesting stuff. I'm still going to be watching out on Saturday, see what happens. But
Afternoon to Why Not, by the way. Afternoon to you. I hope you're enjoying your sunny. I think you're in London as well. Obviously, you're in London. Yeah, I think from our footy chats, you're in London too. So we're all London.
Oh, you got one of your footy chat lads? Yay!
Yeah, he's saying afternoon, and good afternoon to you. I hope you're enjoying this. The sun's gone in a little bit now, which kind of is good.
Oh, mate, it really has
bearing down.
You know what I mean?
Bloody bearing down on me. Well, when we first started talking, it was absolutely bearing down on me. And this is the thing, like I was saying, about having a front-facing ground floor flat. You just get the sun, which is kind of funny to think, because the sun is. You would think the sun is kind of just all around. Do you know what I mean? But it's kind of like the fact that you have like this kind of quote unquote front facing sun. It makes the flat so much fucking hotter, man. Like I come back after work and it's a bloody you walk into a wall of heat. I don't know what your place is like, True Spin, but
listen, you got to open your back door, bro.
I don't have a back door.
Oh, you got to make one. You got to make a hole in. You got to get a through draft.
That's
through draft is the way forward.
I can't make a back door that will probably annoy the flat that's behind me.
Have you what about a bathroom? Can you not like make an artificial through draft, like a local through draft? Get your bathroom window open, mate, and
that's basically what. That's what.
Yeah,
It's about the size of a basketball, but like So it is at least. You're right. It is at least something. It is at least something. And then like once that gets going for a while, it kind of picks up. But it has to get going for a while. But also we are what is it like? We're at the height of sun at the moment for us, because it's going to be like 29, 32, 31 over the next few days. And so people will be laughing if you're listening to us from like Qatar or something. But we're struggling with 30 degrees over here in London.
All right, so the next item is about something that you like. It's balls, flying balls, spaceship balls.
What?
So it's UFOs. Yeah, I know you like UFOs, don't you?
We'll clarify that it's UFOs and not balls.
UFO balls. So, bro, listen. Let's just watch this a little bit and tell me what you think. All right. But have you not heard about this in Colombia? Yeah.
No, go on.
Let's go on with him then. Yeah, let's go on. Booga. Oh, I know. Why is it not working?
Not bloody working.
Oh, that's interesting. But there probably is an explanation, and I just found it out. Right. So here it is. Work now because I had two videos open. Same video.
Buga, Colombia, people noticed this strange sphere flying through the sky. Take a look at this. What in the world is this? Is it like a soccer ball, a balloon? No. A treasure hunter, Jose Restrepo, was simply metal detecting nearby when the same sphere plummeted from the sky, sparked a power line, and then landed at his feet. So many people saw it, eyewitnesses seeing it, capturing it on film. This set off, of course, international sensation. Like, what is this thing moving laterally up and down, then plummeting to the earth? This enigmatic orb, later dubbed the Buga Sphere, reported...
Buga Sphere. All right, first impressions, Future Shock. I'll turn it over to you.
Either one of two things. I mean, it's most likely a sort of like... That for me, because it's flying so close to everything, it's most likely something government related. I don't, because a lot of UFOs I think are kind of like if it's going to be alien, it's going to be reconnaissance type stuff, and I don't think they're going to reconnaissance that obviously. So it's too obvious for me to be alien, and I just think it's maybe just some government technology they're messing around with. That's my initial reaction. I don't know what's yours, True Spoon?
Mine is open to it.
It's too close.
It's probably some kind of government technology. It may be anti-gravity though. They may have. It's quite weird because the propulsion system can't be ascertained. Inside, it was just apparently like fiber optic cables inside. So I wonder when
you see these things,
how it was moving,
it's like quite odd when you see these things because they move in a sort of. I don't know if you've seen what you would describe as a sort of conventional UFO before, but like when you see them, I've seen maybe let's say 2 or 3, and I had that experience that I've said before on the show about hearing one, which I can get into again one time. It's an interesting story, but in terms of seeing things, the point being that they move in a very like different way to what you would normally ascribe to a human-made machinery. So I do think it is oftentimes just governments playing around. But I'm open to the idea that there's some kind of reconnaissance that goes on from potentially an alien race that maybe might have put, like, if you put us here on Earth, you keep an eye on us, sort of thing, like, because it's what we're going to do. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're going to do that. Like, when we get this is kind of how I extrapolate it. It's kind of like when we get sufficiently advanced enough, we are going to do the same thing. We are going to seed planets, and we are going to presumably keep an eye on them. So I just kind of think some of it's that, and maybe it's Orion, maybe like the Egyptians were saying, and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, no, that's kind of my sort of general 2 cents on it, to be honest with you. This particular thing, like specifically, for me, just looks like a government thing. That's my impression of it.
Okay,
I'm just an alien person. Do you know what I mean? I love my aliens.
I know, yeah. So okay, so let's carry on.
Suddenly tripling in weight from roughly 2 kilograms to 10 kilograms.
Weird.
And it contains embedded fiber optic network cables.
Things are fall to Earth now.
With very odd thermal magnetic behaviors. And it has weird.
And then he said it had what appeared, it tripled in mass.
That is
apparently from 3 kilos to 10 kilos.
How did they measure that though? I'm not sure.
Well, they literally found it. It literally landed.
With very odd thermal magnetic behaviors.
Yeah. So hang on, I'm just going to say what was inside it because it's quite interesting.
Oh, I didn't realize it.
Very odd thermal magnetic.
Yeah. Hang on, because I think they talk about what's inside it. Can you hear that?
With very odd thermal magnetic behaviors, and it has weird etched symbols on the side, possibly of extraterrestrial, or maybe it's clandestine. Here it is.
Oh, that's it.
So no one exactly knows. They've been analyzing it. Then overnight, men dressed in fake police gear tried to steal it. After it was under lock and key. Dr. Stephen Greer has been there in Mexico with his team investigating this, and he just posted this on social media. Watch.
We've just been notified by Jaime Mason that there was an attempt by fake policemen to enter the vault where this blue sphere is stored, and we have notified security in the apparatus I'm working with under law enforcement. And you should know that the other risk here is that we have taken specific samples from the Bugosphere that will be tested in a state-of-the-art lab to prove whether or not the metal, as well as some of the other components, are of Earth or outer space origin.
So what in the world is this? Well, someone who went to Mexico to lay eyes on this and actually get a firsthand experience of this is Representative Eric Burleson, member of the United States Congress, who.
So this is quite interesting. This is a congressman, Future Shock.
Yeah.
And he's part of disclosure sort of group. He's part of government disclosure for UFOs. So the government have actually sent him to Colombia to investigate this, which is quite interesting, isn't it? I think in light of Elon Musk and Trump's comments about, well, you know,
you're right, yeah,
disclosure and such things like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know that Trump was sort of saying about kind of like this. I've learned a lot of things I can't say and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I wonder because there's a film. Isn't there a Spielberg film coming out called Disclosure soon? I'm sure that's correct. I think we're building. I mean, look, we kind of all know, with a small K, but like, I think we're trying to build. What they're trying to do is. I don't think they are able to figure out how to tell us without being super paranoid about our reaction. I think they're kind of going to have to tell us eventually about the fact that we're not alone, because obviously we're not. It's like, I don't know how you feel, True Spoon. Like,
yeah, hang on. Would you be obviously not? We're not alone. But you need to clarify that. Whether you mean we're alone in the universe, whether you mean we're alone on planet Earth.
Oh, I mean, alone in the universe,
right? You know, it's like aliens among us and that kind of thing, right? They live.
Okay, that's a multi-layered thing. So
that's what I can see.
Number one, yeah, I do think we're not alone in the universe, and number two, I wouldn't rule out them being on the planet because it would make some kind of logical sense for them to be on the planet at some points. However,
aliens is just a cover story for who really controls the show, you know. It's a convenient.
Well, it's like I've said to you before. Like, how high up does it go? How high up does government? You want to talk about government? Well, not you, obviously.
Well, listen, the aliens cult goes into the secret societies. It's all connected to Rosicrucianism and things like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't think it's
all of them. Those suicide cults and aliens cults. They were Rosicrucian people.
Well, I think that they're kind of like we've talked before about how we're at the back sticks of the universe, isn't it? We're kind of like a little bit out of the way. But I also don't think that we're not unnoticed, and it would be amazing to me if we're not, if nobody's noticed that we're here. It would be absolutely amazing to me, considering the level of technology that we have, and we're primitive. Like, we have to understand that your James Webb telescopes, your Chilean Vera University telescopes, we ain't that fucking good, but also we can see a lot of shit. And, you know, just extrapolate that out like 10x, which is very likely quite locally, even though we are quite far out. And I think we're pretty much, I think it's pretty much inevitable that we're at least watched to some degree. We're just not smart enough to understand it or realize it and track it.
God's watching. God and the demons, mate. God's always watching.
Oh,
because the light is always, it's light, isn't it? It's
you can't escape it.
There is always something like recording and watching every moment of reality, and it's all preserved in light.
You can't escape it.
I don't know, yeah, but it is everything, though, isn't it? Light's everything. It's everything. Unless there's darkness, and then it's like you don't want to be there.
You know, the thing that we were saying the other day as well about, you know, where does the light go? I mean, it just sort of dissipate into the atmosphere, I suppose, doesn't it? And
it's sort of eternal. It doesn't go anywhere. It's never. In fact, in a sense, it doesn't go anywhere because light is instantaneous at the speed of light. There is no time. So in order to have distance, and you need time, because distance is velocity times time. That's how you cover distance, and it's always divisible by one unit of time or distance. And if there's no time, there's no distance. Everything's instantaneous. Well, it's only us in this universe we perceive light moving at a certain speed, you know. So it's almost rather like we are running away from light rather than light's running away from us. Light is the ultimate stillness of the universe, you know. It's like 0 point. and it's like
For me-
we're running away from the light, you know.
It's almost like we're just sort of being
miles.
dragged through this thing. We're being dragged through this reality that has already been set in a way. And we're just kind of like here for the ride in a way. I just feel that's kind of what I feel like, but then obviously I don't have like the most amazing like quantum physics understanding of reality and all that kind of stuff. So maybe I'm incorrect.
No,
but
well,
like,
it's just the concept, isn't it? I mean, it fits though. It does fit. You know, if you've heard about the speed of light. There's no time. You know, that's something that's kind of
yeah. That's the point of being at the speed of light, and I think that's where we're at when we dream. For example, sorry to cut in. For example, I think like when we dream, you're not in a physical. You definitely. The one thing that you can most definitely say about a dream is it's non-physical. It's not a physical experience. And so what does that mean?
There are physical symbols, and there are like physical things in the dream from your physical experience.
But it's not a physical experience like we're having, like, you know, bones and quote unquote, you know, like bones and biology.
Sometimes you do, though, don't you? Sometimes you do have a kind of physicality.
Well, I will come back to that.
Sometimes you can drink in dreams.
You feel like nip off for 1 sec. But I do think you can actually feel pain and.
You nipping off again? I'll play some music if you're nipping off, yeah?
I'm nipping just for like 2 minutes, though. I'm nipping off. That's all. I'll be back in a second. You want to just hold the fort for just 1 minute?
Yeah. All right. Well, I think I mentioned the Rosicrucians connected to the UFO cult stuff. So there's the Order of the Solar Temple. They were notorious even, or they had notoriety for the mass suicides and murders in the mid 1990s. That's crazy to think that happened in the 90s when we were all just having such a good time with indie music and, having £2.50 pints. But yeah, so that happened in the 90s. That was a Rosicrucian thing. Yeah. Blended Templar traditions with Rosicrucianism, Theosophy, and New Age concepts. And they believed they were going to, I think they were going to catch a comet. Was it like the Hale-Bopp comet? So, yeah, anyway, today I'm going to play a tune in a minute. But today I want to talk about Freemasonry and what the aim of it is and how it connects to the occult and even how it connects to the UFO movement. But I'm going to need to take a break before I do that. So I'm just going to see if Future Shock is not.
I'm back. Yeah, you want to take another little break? Yeah, that's fine.
I ain't taking a break yet, have I? You have. You've had two. So all right. Should we put which song should we put on? Because I'm going to have about 7. Have you got an 8? Did you put up a tune, or we could play?
Yeah. So
hang on. You got
Fall of Darkness. I was going to play Fall of Darkness.
Fall of Darkness. Yeah.
I've uploaded a couple, but let's play Fall of Darkness because Ida is a great singing talent that I'm trying to bring back into the singing scene. We did some recording at Erith in South London at a studio in Erith, and the guy who was doing the sound engineering, which I could have done, which was annoying, but anyway, he was a nice guy, and like he just turned around and looked at me. He was like, "I get professionals in here all the time, and they come in, and then they have to have their setup, and they have to have their little moments, and they have their mistakes, and they make their mistakes, and they have to have their cues." She's just walked in, a non-professional, let's say. She's just walked in, banged everything out first time. She was a little bit nervous in the first 10 seconds. And once she got used to the fact that she was in the booth, she just banged everything out first time. And the fact that she popped her head around the booth one time, and she was like, "Is everything going okay?" And like, there's me as a Yorkshireman, and there's him as a South Croydon boy, and we're borderline basically in tears because she's such a good singer, and she's got the audacity to put her head round the fucking parapet and say, "Is everything going okay?" She's a great singer, man. Ida is a fantastic singer. I'm gonna record more. I hope, if she's up for it, because she's got a family now and she's a bit and ahhing about whether she wants to record more. I'm trying to coax her talent out of her. unfortunately, sometimes people who have big talent, you have to drag it out of them sometimes. But I'm going to play it. I'll play it now, True Spoon. Yeah.
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 How long is it, man?
It's about 5 or 6 minutes. Sorry, I don't know exactly how long. 5 minutes, maybe.
Okay, I might take a break. I'm going to listen to it downstairs, but I'm taking a break, right? So if you can like hold the thought or something for a minute if I'm delayed, okay?
Yeah, that's fine. So I'm good. We're going to play one of my tunes, "Full of Darkness," featuring Ida, and yeah, enjoy. We'll be back in 5 minutes.
Bro.
5 minutes. Ida is such an amazing singer. Whoops, sorry about that. Ida is such an amazing singer. Like we went to the studio in Erith, and I said before about the, the popping her head out of the booth and stuff. But at the studio in Erith, the studio was above a sort of can packing plant. So it was like a warehouse where they packed like cans of Fanta, Coke, and whatever, Mountain Dew, whatever, into boxes and for delivery. And so that was kind of the ground floor. It was like a can packing plant. And then the floor above that was the studio floor, which is where we went to. So we trundled up some stairs to get up there. And she started singing. And I think she did Ain't No Sunshine. And then we got a knock on the studio door, and we were like, "Oh, for fuck's sake! Is this somebody trying to be like fucking, they're complaining that there's noise or whatever, all that." We opened the studio door, and it's one of the guys who's working in the plant packing the cans, and he literally has his cap in his hand. He's literally got his cap in his hand. He's saying that, like, look, we've heard so many singers coming here over the past like few weeks. I think she's just amazing. I think. We really, really like listening to her. She's so emotional when she sings, and it was a really great experience, man. And I'm trying to get her back into being a singer because she has an amazing talent. That song maybe didn't show it off so much. Bear in mind that song is like 5 years old, so that's like 5 years old production of Rob from the Future Shock production. So that's 5 years ago. So I would do the song a little bit differently. If it was done now, I would treat her vocals a little bit differently if it was now. And this is kind of what I want to do, because I've got we haven't worked together since 5 years, and I've come a long way since then. So yeah, and she has an amazing voice. She just has this, and she doesn't even understand it. She's like, "What do you want me to do?" I'm just like, "Well, just fucking sing, Ida. Just fucking sing." And she doesn't understand the instruction. It's almost like she doesn't just understand the instruction sing, because she doesn't know what to sing. So what she's trying to say to me is, okay, this is kind of like how you level it out a little bit. What she's saying to me is, okay, Rob, if you want me to sing, you need to write something for me. So I need to kind of like write just something basic. With drum and bass, obviously, like you maybe don't want massively complicated lyrics. It's more about hooky stuff. You want to hook people. So I've got to write a couple of like hooks. But I'm working on this EP at the moment, which is my 100th release. So that's taking precedent. So I'm blah 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 in a little bit. Anyway, sorry, man. Let's get back into it. Let's get back into the.
So yeah, okay, yeah. I mean, she's obviously really talented. Have you got any more tracks with her?
Yeah, there's another one we can play in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, nice one. So listen, I just want to. I found this today. I found this the other day. I think it's pretty funny. It's AI. What AI can do now, and there's a whole series of these. I think it's the same guy. There's this whole series he's released. This is Star Trek: The Soviet Generation. There's Simpsons: The Soviet Generation. There's all sorts of stuff. But he's also doing a series of the most German man in the world, and it's AI, but it's quite funny. We'll probably watch that. But I just thought this is amusing, and just put this on for a bit of fun. Yeah, I don't think we'll get it because it's AI. We won't get any copyright stuff. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's pretty funny actually.
I used to love Star Trek: Next Generation.
It's all AI stuff. Yeah, it's so amazing.
From the ashes of bourgeois idealism rises a new dawn of interstellar unity. Welcome aboard the Engels Prize D, flagship of the Socialist Federation of Planets. Its mission, to bring liberation to the stars, whether they ask for it or not. The ship is commanded by the ever-composed Captain Picardov, a man whose boldness is rivaled only by his ideological purity. Commander Data, a marvel of synthetic engineering, programmed with the combined logic of Federation science and the teachings of Karl Marx. When confronted with the contradiction between rational inquiry and state-mandated ideology, he experienced a fatal error and burst into flames. The crew mourned and immediately accused him of harboring counter-revolutionary software. But the ship's true authority is Supreme Commissar Spokovich. His cold Vulcan logic proved perfectly suited for party politics and the art of systematic betrayal. His greatest triumph came during the Great Purge of 2137, when he personally condemned his former captain. The man who once saved his life was sentenced to re-education on Rura Penthi. Worf, an honorable warrior from House Proletariat, finds solace in the Federation's violent enforcement of economic justice. He advises photon torpedo strikes at the first sign of market competition. Dr. Krusharova treats illness the same way she treats dissent, with permanent sedation. Her son, Comrade Wesley, now long missing, was last seen questioning the efficiency of warp core safety protocols. The state's official report declared that he ascended to a higher plane of socialism. Councillor Troyevich was assigned as part of the Federation's DEI initiative. Her primary function is to provide visual morale to male officers. Her uniform was custom designed by Comrade Riker. Riker was praised for his contributions to the socialist cause. Shortly before his imprisonment for hoarding forbidden instruments, no enemy was greater than Ferenginar, home of the galaxy's most unrepentant capitalists. Its markets were unregulated, its profits obscene. So the Federation rained down 45 megatons of economic justice upon them. The Grand Nagus lies buck-broken upon the floor of the throne room, as the fires of Marxist purification consume Ferenginar. The survivors now harvest potatoes on Sirius A. But even glorious victories have costs. Following the liberation of Ferenginar, the Engels Prize's warp core experienced a minor deviation. Chief Engineer LaForgia assured command that all readings were nominal. They were not. Officer Dyatlov, veteran of the Chernobyl station, confidently advised Captain Picardov, "Warp cores don't explode, Comrade Captain. It is physically impossible." Moments later, a containment breach triggered a catastrophic plasma release. The Engels Prize was lost. The crew perished as heroes of the revolution. Following the peaceful liberation of Ferenginar, a fearsome race known as the Borg arrived at the Federation's borders. But the Federation did not fear them. Quite the opposite. The Borg were welcomed with open arms. Many eagerly volunteered for assimilation, praising it as the final stage of ideological purity. Star Trek: The Soviet Generation. Coming soon to the People's Galactic Broadcasting Service.
It's not even that inaccurate. I mean, like, I also remember that, what the hell was her name? Her name is just completely out of my head now. You always used to have that camel toe in it. That bird, what was her fucking name? Sorry, go on.
She what? Oh, Marina Sirtis.
Yeah, the one that was the
Councillor Troy.
Yes. Yeah. She always had a little bit of camel toe, which is a little bit like, you know, as a sort of younger boy at the time, was interesting. So I can hear the planes above you now, man.
Yeah, I mean, anyone in West London is pretty much on a flight path, man. Really, do you know what I mean? It's fine, but yeah.
I grew up on a flight path, you know, and you know the story. I mean, I don't know if you want me to tell the story about the UFO again. I mean, do you remember what I was saying about the? You know, I was on the Yeadon Airport flight path, and there was what appeared to me to be like certainly an unidentified object, anyway, hovering above my house. You remember? I don't think you remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the weird thing about it was because, you know, you're on Yeadon, you're in an airport flight path, and it's a normal thing for planes to be flying over, and you know the noise. It's a repeated noise that happens again and again and again. Like multiple times per day, like 10 plus times per day. You know what the sound of an airplane flying on the Yeadon Airport flight path sounds like, because you've heard it again and again. This one stopped above the house, and then, for want of a less zesty explanation, started throbbing a lot. It just throbbed. There's no better way for me to describe it. It just throbbed a lot, as weird as that sounds. And then it fucked off in the opposite direction, backwards. Never in my life, I lived there for 17 years. Never in my life did I ever hear anything like that ever again, or before or afterwards. Very, very strange.
Yeah, you got any missing time or any strange beeping implants?
I was like 11 years old, so I wasn't really like eating mushrooms or whatever. Yeah, we can discount mushrooms or weed. I haven't even discovered weed at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you didn't have any missing time or anything like that, or missing teeth.
Well, I don't know.
It happened afterwards, or maybe you just need some hypnosis and it will all come out.
Well, That's a good question, actually. So what basically happened? So the psychology of it was, do I go to the window to look at it? So that was the psychology that was happening at the time, and I was kind of like worried, obviously, about going to the window to look at what might be hovering above the house. So you have to understand that at this moment in time, I'm fully awake, and there is something that, even though I can't see it, is very quite obviously large above the house, throbbing, and it's throbbing in a way that I can't really describe because it's not really a usual human experience. But it's there throbbing away. So I was kind of
did you get hypnotized by it? Because often these things are accompanied by flashing lights, and often there's a sort of, it's said that they can generate EM frequencies that can instantly hypnotize people. So I think that some of this technology involves lights and EM frequencies and to hypnotize people, and that's kind of like a camouflage thing for the technology, because they can say that they saw aliens and stuff, and they were taken on board a spaceship, and they had something rammed up their arse, and it's like that's just a cover story. That's like the hypnosis. That's post hypnotic. Like,
I mean, I would say, sorry, just to say, like,
I don't believe that's part. I don't necessarily believe that's real, unless it's an astral experience. But no, I mean, I've written in the past and researched how. Like how in McDonald's they used to play like ultrasonic sounds that would drive people out the restaurant so they didn't stay there too long, you know. And it still goes on probably in the high street, you know.
I mean, look, I went to the window, and the funny thing about like the story is, once I got up the courage to go to the window, because you imagine I'm in my bedroom, there's something that appears to be above the bedroom, which appears to be very large. I can't see it, but you can tell from the sort of, there's a general weight of the reality. It seems to indicate that it's quite a large thing.
You saw it?
I didn't, but I didn't see it. But you can sort of tell because it's throbbing and it's kind of bearing, because it's bearing down on the house. Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah, but hang on, could it not be some kind of black helicopter or something? I mean, did you see any lights?
No. But
you didn't see anything.
No. It's not a helicopter. It's 100% not a helicopter. Helicopters sound a lot different to that. We had an army base. No, we had an army base that was very close. I can't remember the fucking name of the base. But anyway, we had an army base that was very near to us. We also had a lot of helicopters fly over. There's absolutely 0% that was a helicopter. They didn't have the rotary blade sound.
Okay, so did you look at it though? What happened when you were outside?
Well, I went to go to the window. So this is the thing. So I went to go to the window to look at it because I eventually summoned up the courage to do this because it was kind of a scary situation. As soon as I got to my window, which is not an insignificant window, it's quite a big window. As soon as I got to that, the thing fucked off backwards, back in the sky, just off into the sky.
Okay, but so you saw it.
I didn't see it. No.
Well, how do you know then? If it fucked off backwards, you didn't see it.
Because the sound and the weight of the weight of it went away back behind me.
Okay, all right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, all right. It sounds like it's some kind of heavy magnetic field. That's probably how it. That's the
system.
What year was it?
Oh God! I mean, I would have been. So I was 10 when I had that bedroom. So that would have been 1994. It's probably about 96-ish, mid-90s, basically.
Yeah. So okay. Yeah. So that's a pretty interesting experience. So yeah, and it fucked off how fast? Do you think?
I mean, it was gone in a few seconds. It was gone in maybe 2 or 3 seconds. It was extremely unnerving how fast it left, and it left me with a very, very. And this is why I told the story, and I've told this story a lot of times on this show, and I will always tell this story to people because it's such an unnerving experience. It left like that. I can't click my finger fast enough. It just fucking disappeared.
Hang on. Can you even be sure it was a technological thing and it wasn't just a demonic presence kind of trying to dominate your soul?
What would sort of like cast the difference? What would like identify the difference?
What would be the difference? Well, there's been lots of stories about people in the past having feeling massive demonic presences. I mean, why would you say it's a technological phenomenon and not a spiritual one?
Because I mean, like the way that it sounded. I mean, that's kind of like, maybe you might think that that's a get out clause or whatever, but like, it just didn't sound like it was 4D. It was definitely.
What did it sound like?
It sounded like a mechanism, like a 3D mechanism of some kind, just something that was very advanced.
Yeah. So it's definitely like a physical presence, huh?
They're definitely 3D.
Well, the fact that it's on the flight line, how far is it from the base? How far is it from the nearby military base?
Sorry, I don't know in miles, but I don't know literally in miles, but it's like quite close. It is quite close.
Well, it's no distance whatsoever, so it's likely to be some technology they were doing it. They were testing at the base. What do you think?
Yeah, I think. I mean, look, I want that to be true because I don't want the fact that I don't think it makes.
But how did it know you were looking at it though? That's weird, and like I don't know, because there's something else to these things.
I think that's probably just a coincidence. I think that's probably just like I went to the window. I just think probably I went to the window.
Why would they hover over your house though?
That's the question. That's more of a question.
Unless it had some kind of connection with you, and that's the weird thing about these alien phenomenons. I do believe it's secret technology, but there's also an occult thing behind it. There's also something about hypnosis, and it's so bizarre. It's so totally weird.
I mean, I've had a couple of those. I mean, like when I lived at Alexandra Palace, just in front of Alexandra Palace. If you went up to Alexandra Palace just in the middle of the sort of like, I don't know, a Saturday night or whatever, you would see quite a lot of things.
Yeah, I had a friend who used to organize UFO walks in North London, and she said every time they went out, they would see UFOs in North London.
Or they thought were UFOs. Well, a lot of the time, it's either.
She reckons she could manifest them. It was her thing that she could make them appear.
I mean, a lot of the time, what they're seeing are either meteors or space debris of some kind.
Would you see a meteor in London though? It's so polluted, you wouldn't see it necessarily. Do you know what I mean?
In most places, no.
You don't often see meteors in London, I don't think. But
here's where's Doll's house? Better late than never. Good. Yeah, we don't mind. We don't mind. There's no lateness here. We're going on for however many hours we're going on for.
Well, that's it. I mean, yeah, he's early because we did say we were going to start at 8, but we started early. So he's kind of early for an 8 o'clock stream that we start early. So that's good work.
Yeah. There's no need to apologize for being late for a stream that we started about an hour ago.
Yeah,
that's our bad. But we just wanted to chat in it, and it's kind of like it's good. It's all good fun in it, and we're trying to just sort of like figure things out. And that's the great thing about having the ability like to go and like create a YouTube channel and try to talk to people and all this kind of stuff. It's like people didn't have this is kind of to my point, if you remember in the last show, where I was saying about like how the hell did these people who are so primitive start to figure stuff out, like the double split experiment and all this kind of stuff, because they didn't have anything else to focus on. They weren't distracted by.
We had this last week, but I disagreed with it because we're still making great discoveries, aren't we? But they only had. He was working with light, so they're working with all that they had to work. It's like the thing is, by studying light, they discovered they're actually in the 1801. They didn't know it, but they discovered the quantum realm for the first time. But it was only 100 years later that it was realized that the double slit experiment. But anyway, let's move on because I've got something I want to talk about. All right, and I want to sort of go over it with you. All right, Future Shock.
Go for it, man.
Right, so I want you to. I'm going to like read out some bits and stuff about this. This is all about Freemasonry and what really is going on in the world, and this is really relevant now.
Do you think you should also like preface it by saying
as we're on the edge of World War III with a certain Middle East country? This is so important to everything that's happening now. What do you want to say?
I was going to say, do you think you should maybe preface this with like the fact that you've had dealings with them?
I don't want to go over that. I mean, that's but this is research.
What I just said.
This isn't necessarily personal stuff. This is actually just research about Freemasonry and reports from the times about who was really behind Freemasonry back in the beginning. And if you know who's behind Freemasonry in the beginning, then you can pretty much guess they're still behind Freemasonry, right?
Well, yeah, of course, it's just been passed down. You know what I mean?
So I suggest that we, in order to understand the present, we need to discover the secrets of the past. And there's been an agenda unfolding throughout the years for the establishment, obviously, of a Jewish homeland in the Middle East. But Freemasonry has been a prime motor of action in this endeavor all along. So we can understand that this has been achieved by the activities of Jewish Kabbalists and Sabbateans infiltrating into Freemasonry during the 18th century. And people like Emanuel Swedenborg, who we talked about, who could communicate with spirits, and there's a Swedenborgian rite within Freemasonry, which is presumably about contacting spirits. So Freemasonry has long been suspected of being a secret society with Judaic origins. And famously, Chevalier Ramsay was a Freemason. He delivered a famous oration in which he described Freemasonry as being an originally Jewish cult. And the secrets of this were discovered by the crusading knights of the Temple, the Templars, and then transmitted to the operative Masons in France and the British Isles. So far, so good, right? Does that make sense so far? What you might know about Freemasonry? I don't know if that. He's gone. Are you there, Future Shock? Oh, he's muted himself. All right. Anyway, I'll carry on. So there's this thing about manipulators that comes out, like these shadowy figures, the so-called hidden rulers of Freemasonry. And one of them is Count Cogliostro. So we need to understand about these characters of the past and what the effect they had. He was described as the greatest man in Europe. Future Shock, are you all right?
I was listening, and there was someone at the door I had to sort out.
Well, feel free to interject, all right? Because do you know what I mean? Yeah. So there was let's see here. The Scottish Freemasons have always had a long tradition of second sight. Some Swedish Freemasons would claim that Swedenborg possessed this peculiar gift of clairvoyance. Now, there's a man called Hiram Samuel Falk. He was one of the Baal Shems. That's a Jewish master of the name. A Baal Shem is a Kabbalist who can write Kabbalistic amulets using the supposed name of God. And they were said to be able to conjure angels, predict the future, offer protection from demons and disasters. And Falk was said to engage in magical rituals in Epping Forest and along the shores of the Thames.
Okay.
He became known as an unknown superior of the Freemasons. This was in the 18th century. So, specifically, hang on. Where's my Falk sheet? So so his name is Hayam Samuel Jacob Falk, an 18th century Kabbalist. He narrowly avoided being burned at the stake in Westphalia after being charged with sorcery. He apparently, there's a writer called Marcia Schuchard, and she provides some information about this Baal Shem, this 18th century Jewish rabbi who lived in London at the time and who was instrumental in being a ruler of Freemasonry. She writes, Marcia Schuchard writes that Falk spent his early years in Podetchi and Firth, centers of secret Sabbatinism, where he had access to the antinomian Kabbalism of Baruchio Russo, who advocated holy sinning. We often hear about holy sinning, as being, this is like what the OTO and the cults believe is, thou shalt do as wilt, was the old Crowley sort of expression. The Rabelaisian motto was Fasca tu voudras, do what you like. But the idea of holy sinning is apparently that if you commit a sin, and in this case, they willfully commit sin, that they think it's going to bring them closer to God when they repent. It's a very strange sort of...
that is odd. Like, it's an odd way of looking at it.
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's not really the way it works, is it? Do you know what I mean? It's not really the way...
Not in my opinion. But especially in sexual and ritual matters. And they do this holy sinning in order to bring about a millenarial reversal of reality. That's kind of where we are now, isn't it? When you think about it, we're certainly in a millenarial reversal of reality. When you look around what the society is like now.
Oh yeah, I mean, like, it does. I think we will still move forward, but it's kind of like, I don't know how to exactly describe it at the moment. There's going to be a little bit of a transitional problem over the next, let's say, 10 years until 2035. 2035 is going to be a very strong point, I think, for humanity.
How do you get this? Why? How do you know that?
I don't know it.
Why do you think that?
Because I see the progression in artificial intelligence technology, and I can see where it's going. I can see that.
Yeah, but is that humanity or is that them? Because there's humanity and there's them, and there's not necessarily the same thing, is it? We don't have the same interests, do we?
Well, I guess. Okay, so what I'm saying is, like, in terms of having a good human life, I think 2035, you're going to be essentially, you don't really have to work. You don't really have to do anything. I think you can have a very sort of like basic food provided to you, do whatever you want kind of life by 2035, due to the progression of AI. And that's just kind of the way I see it. I might be completely wrong. I might be wrong. It might be 2030. It could be 2030.
Okay.
I have been.
It's not based on any facts, though.
Really. I have been. It's not based on. It's based on. Okay, so what we've seen from AI, like progressively, over the last sort of like 5 years, is you've gone from a skeleton to.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean our life's going to get better, though, does it? I mean, that's just going to. We'll just get more and more weird TV commercials that'll just fuck with our heads. And we won't know whether what we're watching is real or artificial intelligence. That isn't going to make humanity better, though, is it, necessarily? I think it's a bit...
When you don't have to work and when you have all your food provided for you...
I don't know, man. I'd love to believe it, but I just don't see it, man, honestly. I mean, don't see it.
Well, I guess that's cool, man. That's kind of how we do it.
We're on a slave plantation, man. They're not suddenly going to throw away the keys and let us free and, like, all the food you want. No, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Not unless they've like killed 9/10 of the population, and then they can do their utopia. But
okay,
I didn't see the planet heading on that direction at all.
No, I understand that point, but I do think that it's just kind of going to be too inevitable. It's not going to be really stoppable, and they don't really have a fucking choice. And that's kind of how I see it. Basically, I don't think they have.
All right, I'm just going to continue with this because I've got quite a bit to read. So, because I start things but I never finish them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I listen to numbers of book as well, by the way. So we've got a lot of listeners, and big up to everyone who's listening. Make sure you stick a like on the video whilst you're watching. It really helps the channel. It really helps grow the channel if you stick a like. Just take 1 second to click that like, man. Come on. Go on.
So Falk was said to be gifted in practical magic, hypnotic techniques, alchemical metallurgy, and folk medicine. And Falk boldly defended the Jewish religion, predicted a universal war, which is interesting that they'd be saying that. And this is what we're looking at now, right? This is why the key to the present and future lies in the past. This is what I've always believed. And an approaching messianic consummation, which is kind of some kind of Jewish Messiah thing going on. So he's a Jewish alchemist and Kabbalist. He became revered and feared as one of the unknown superiors of Illuminist Freemasonry. So Falk instructed Swedenborg in Kabbalistic trance techniques and sex magic, which they believed would usher in... This was in the 18th century, man. So, I mean, this has been going on a long time. Yeah, which they believed would usher in a spiritual and political millennium.
Right. Well, what do they mean by that, though? Like, because that's just words, isn't it? It's like, what do you mean? I mean, not you, obviously, but like,
you have to use your imagination, But listen, I mean, I made the point, didn't I, that where reality would be reversed, and that's where we are now. Remember, that was what I read. Is that
no, I remember you saying
they're aiming at like a millennial reversal of reality. That's what they've achieved. You can put it in no final point in that, and they've done it through Freemasonry.
So if you so let's say, for example, let's say that you're an alien that is part of the race that seeded the earth with humans. What would you think of us right now?
What?
If you were an alien that had seeded the earth with humans, what would you think of us right now? I would probably think that we are trying our best to fuck things up. But I would also think that these are humans, and
isn't that it's the Freemasons, mate? It's the Illuminati. It's that simple. I'm spelling it out. They're the ones fucking that world up, man. It's not humans. It's not me and you. It's the Freemasons. That's the whole point of this. This is an artificial reality they're creating, and it's people like Falk in the 18th century who got into Freemasonry, corrupted it from inside. That's what we're dealing with now. You know, if aliens, the aliens probably work with the Freemasons. The demons work with them. So they're all on this sort of team. You got these astral entities, and you got the Freemasons, and they're working for, as I've pointed out. I can't make it any clearer who they're working for, but that's what they are. So,
well, I think also like we've got like when you talk about astral planes as well, people need to understand that it's quite easy to access them. So it's quite easy to go from
when you're dreaming, you're there to some extent, right?
Sorry,
when you're dreaming, you're there, right?
Yeah, well, that was exactly the point.
When you're daydreaming, you can be there.
That was exactly the point I was going to make. When you're dreaming, you're entering into a kind of excursion into that astral plane, and what that astral plane is doing, I think the point of dreaming is to basically kind of allow you to have a little bit of a interlink between this.
That's where you get all your energy from, isn't it? It's like connecting to the source. That's how you're refreshed when you're tired. And how is it when you're tired? You can wake up. You wake up refreshed. Because
it's also so that you're not. It's also so that you're not like surprised by what happens. So, like dreaming is just supposed to sort of prepare you a little bit, as the Native Americans used to say. Not that privilege. I'm not saying that primitive like civilizations had massively better like knowledge or whatever, but the ancient Americans used to say that dreaming used to prepare you for death, and I do believe there is some wisdom in that, because I believe that if you just look at the test, you just look at the dimethyltryptamine release, look at the DMT release with dreaming and with dying. There is a much more massive amount of dimethyltryptamine released by the body upon dying than there is upon dreaming, but there is also a percentage released of DMT when dreaming, and then there isn't. I don't think there isn't normally. I'm not sure what the percent. Actually, that's interesting. What would the percentage be normally? Anyway, point being, dreams and death seem to have this kind of chemical coalescence. So that's something interesting to look into, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry,
they're twins, aren't they? They're twins in Greek religion. Remember, was it? So so Catherine the Great, the Empress of Russia, was deeply critical and suspicious of Freemasonry. She wrote a trilogy of plays satirizing Freemasonry and specifically lampooning Count Cagliostro. In his paper entitled Catherine II and Her Plays, Adam Drozdek relates the plot details of one of her anti-Masonic plays, The Deceiver. Now, this is interesting because this also shows how Freemasons were instrumental in. This is one of the pieces of evidence of showing how Freemasons and the Freemasons controllers were instrumental in the evidence leading up to the French Revolution, which, of course, destroyed and destabilized one of the most powerful monarchs in the world. Western Christian tradition completely destroyed their society, mass murder of bourgeoisie, intellectuals, Christians, and such on the streets. But as we know all about that, right? But who would do that and why? And if you can imagine that these revolutions all take the same form, so the Soviet Revolution is run by the same people, basically. But this is interesting. So this is the plot of The Deceiver by Catherine the Great. In The Deceiver, Kalia Kirsten pretends to be able to double the size of diamonds to speak with invisible Alexander the Great, who during his lifetime visited him, and gullible Sambin believed him. Kalia Kirsten promised Odin to win for him Samblin's daughter, Sophia. He was also able to cure an imaginary illness of Samblina, which was pronounced to be a miracle. He promised Samblin to multiply Samblin's riches by cooking money and small diamonds, but he fled with the diamonds he got from Samblin for such a cooking. So he was an alchemist, so he told people he could cook diamonds, right? He'd take people's diamonds and boil them and make powder, right? So Dodin captured him, whereby he won over Sophia. The last words spoken by Dodin are addressed to the audience. Such a deception is not new in this world, I think. It only takes up different forms in different times. This I give for your consideration. So this character of Caliph Kirsten is clearly intended to represent Count Cogliostro, who was influenced by Falk and was a leading European Freemason in the 18th century. The incident of stealing diamonds, which were claimed to be used to cook to make bigger diamonds, is echoed by a real-life event of the theft of a diamond necklace, which was instrumental in running up to the French Revolution and the death of Marie Antoinette, the beheading of Marie Antoinette. So he was involved in the affair of the diamond. Cogliostro was said to have been involved in the affair of the diamond necklace, which involved a jeweler on the verge of bankruptcy in need of selling an expensive diamond necklace he had made for Louis XV, who had ordered it for Madame Barry, one of his favorite courtesans. But he died before its completion, and the courtesan subsequently out of favor in the court, banished, leaving the jeweler out of pocket for the diamonds he had purchased to create the necklace. And it seems there were several disgruntled parties united in a conspiracy against the new Queen Marie Antoinette. And what they did is they fomented a Masonic plot, which seemed to unite several different strands of discontent and deftly weave them together to form a net to catch the Queen and promote resentment among the French sans-culottes towards the French monarchy.
You did a very nice French accent there, by the way. Sorry, go on.
Sans-culotte. It means no pants. Is what they called the poor people in those days.
The no pants people. The no pants people.
No pants, yeah.
Fucking hell.
So no underwear, probably. Basically no underwear. So this led to events which would eventually lead to the French Revolution. So what it is, there's a self-styled Comtesse de la Motte, Jeanne de Valois Saint-Remy. Motte. This is like she was a trickster. She pretended she was a close confidant of the Queen and gave Cardinal Rohan letters forged by her lover, Riteau de Villette, expressing her appreciation for the Cardinal's qualities, Cardinal Rohan, but later her love for him. And Lamotte made Cardinal Motte believe that he was going to meet Marie Antoinette and have a love affair with her. They hired a prostitute who looked like Marie Antoinette. And in exchange, Lamotte borrowed large sums of money from Rohan, which she told him was for the Queen's charitable activities, which was in reality to fund her lifestyle. Lamotte was then approached by the jewelers who needed to get rid of these diamonds that made this expensive necklace for a former favorite of Louis XV, but now he no longer wanted it. So Riteau forged letters from the Queen to Cardinal Rohan with an order to buy the necklace, saying that she wanted to buy the necklace secretly in order to avoid any negative publicity over spending such a large amount of money at a time when the French people were starving and in poverty. So Jeanne accused Count Cogliostro of being the one who persuaded the cardinal to purchase the necklace, and thus was potentially the manufacturer of the necklace plot. So while Cardinal Rohan was immediately arrested, but he was only a poor dupe. One of the main agents, the so-called Comtesse de la Motte, was not arrested until 3 days later, and she was given ample time to destroy all correspondence and evidence implicating the Freemason Count Cogliostro as being involved. Despite Marie Antoinette having nothing to do with this affair, it was Lamotte pretending to be the Queen and borrowing money and saying that there was an order to purchase a necklace. Despite her being blameless, public opinion went against her because the press handled the affair in such a way that it tarnished the reputation of the monarchy. Cardinal Rohan's acquittal seemed to make him look the innocent party, and he was an innocent party. But so it shifted the blame on the Queen, on Marie Antoinette. It was believed even that she had used Comtesse de la Motte in her own conspiracy against Cardinal Rohan. So, although Jeanne de la Motte was found guilty and imprisoned, she escaped to England, and she published her memoirs where she attacked the wrong queen and portrayed herself as an innocent victim of her courtly intrigues. The hand of providential justice in her case was not long in catching up with her, because whether it was through the agent of Cagliostro, the Freemasons trying to tie up loose ends, or whether it was some kind of avenging angel, She ended up falling from her hotel room while apparently hiding from debt collectors, although her husband claimed it was agents of the revolutionary Duc d'Orléans, Grand Master of the Grand Orient of France, the Freemasonry Lodge, who may have murdered her. She was found terribly mangled. Her left eye had been cut out.
Terribly mangled.
One of her arms and both her legs were broken.
Oh, hang on, sorry. This isn't just like a normal falling from.
No, it looks like
Her left eye was mangled.
Ritual. Yeah, that's right.
Well,
Exactly.
and I think that you're not. Sorry to cut in. Sorry, but I think you're not.
No.
He's making a good point here. Like, I think the ancestors had a real gem, staying closer to humble earthly existence, better lifestyle, better health. And I think that's kind of a good point. I think that's something we touched upon before in our streams, that like when people lived back in, like decades.
Why have you changed the subject? How have you changed the subject to that though? I mean, what's that?
I just put the. We're not
okay,
changing. I'm just going to talk about this, and we can go back to what you were talking about, sort of thing. So yeah, I mean,
that's the least probable segue from what I said to suddenly about ancestors. But okay, you can go with it. Go with it.
I was just sort of responding to what the people in the chat were saying. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't trying to sort of.
I'm not following the chat. What are they on about?
So this basically. So this is kind of what.
Are they on about UFO balls?
Not quite yet, unfortunately. But yeah, no. All I was saying was like, I think that like.
Oh, someone's saying something in the chat. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so it's kind of like just putting it on and like trying
to make it clear then, because it just seems like you're just changing the subject. So just tell us the chat is speaking, yeah. Honestly, because I didn't know where that come from, bro. Honestly.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I don't mean to like. I'm
not watching the chat. Yeah.
So basically, I'm on comments. I'm on comments. Is a sort of like.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So go on. Yeah, go on with that. I'll continue with this in a minute. Then we'll play a tune. Yeah.
There's
not a lot of this left, okay? So don't worry.
So I mean, we could just sort of like keep talking and stuff if you want.
Yeah, I mean, this is quite interesting stuff. But yeah, go on about our ancestors and yeah.
Well, I just wanted to sort of like address the guy's comment because he's just made a comment and stuff. So like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So anyway, I think the ancestors had a real gem staying closer to humble earthly existence, which is kind of what I was saying before about like they didn't have distractions. Do you know what I mean? They didn't have distractions.
I see. Yeah.
That's kind of the point I wanted to make about. Anyway, Tristan, go on about what you were saying. Sorry.
Well, these guys are back from the 18th century though, and they're already carrying on with sex clubs and prostitutes and things. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I always sort of have a dream of like I'd love to live life at the speed of a gypsy caravan or something, but you can never go back there. I mean, I fly a lot, and I kind of hate flying. I wish I never had to fly again. Do you know? You know what I mean? Flying is so much worse than it used to be. But when I'm up in the air, when you're taking off, you think, "Oh man, I wish I didn't have to do this again," because your life is just totally in the hands of fate. Really, I mean, I know they say it's safer, but I just can't quite believe I have no control over what could go on in an airplane. But yeah, okay. So listen, I just can't go on with this a bit. So. Yeah, she was found mangled, her eye cut out, one of her arms, and both her legs were broken. Oh my God! So like, she was like Freemasonic sort of revenge, justice. God knows what got to her by the looks of it. Marie Antoinette died 2 years later on the guillotine in 1793. This is 18th century. The Duke of Orleans himself was a cousin to King Louis XVI. So one of the strongest proponents of the revolution was cousin to the king himself. He was a member of the royal elite, and he'd become a revolutionary, and he even voted in favor of the death sentence for his cousin, the king. Like so many of the revolutionaries, like bloodthirsty Robespierre, he found himself hoisting his own petard, suffering the same ignominious death at the sharp, quick kiss of Madame Guillotine. So they cast off their puppets when they know too much. So Saint-Germain and Cagliostro, Falk is the secret. He's described from Webster's Secret Societies and Subversive Movements. That's quite a well-known book about the secret societies. Here's a quote. All these secret sources of instructions are wrapped in mystery, while Saint-Germain and Cagliostro, who is referred to in this correspondence in terms of light derision, emerge into the limelight. The real initiates remain concealed in the background. Falk is almost inaccessible, yet one more almost forgotten document of the period may throw some light on the important part he played behind the scenes in Masonry. Fulk is believed to have given the Duc d'Orléans to ensure the succession of a talisman consisting of a ring, which he wore before mounting the scaffold. So he's connected to Fulk. Fulk gave Duke d'Orléans, who was instrumental in the revolution and signed the King's Death Warrant, he gave him a magical talisman as a Kabbalist. So there's a secret power behind the Orleanist conspiracy, which is part of the French Revolution, and it's that he was in touch with Fulk, and London supported the scheme of the revolution. Fulk apparently had chests of gold, and there we might find the source of those loans raised in London by the Duke of Orleans to finance the riots of the revolution. There's actually more.
Fulk, though.
So that's key. Basically, that's a main point that I wanted to point out, is how we to understand the present and the future and what's happening and who's ruling the world and why the world is moving in this direction. We just have to look at the past and who was ruling the world, who toppled those France and the monarchy, and where did the money come from, and which organizations. Obviously, the Freemasons are involved, but it's interesting and it's all backed up in research. But I'll tell you what, we can have a chat, or we can put a tune on or something, because we're going to take a little break, yeah?
Sorry.
You right there, bro?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, we could take a little break. We could do a couple of minutes or so.
All right, mate. Listen, I'm going to bang on the Lunar Standstill tune, okay, there. I think it's about 6 minutes long, yeah? But I'm going to take a break. Can you fill in if I don't get back in time? Is that all right?
Yes, fine. No worries.
Yeah, cool. All right, I'll play it. This is from Sandwich Pan. This is a song that is about the major lunar standstill, which happened 11th of June. And
we were back soon.
It's called When the Goddess Comes, yeah. We should play silence, like have a Quaker meeting for 10 minutes, because we had the highest numbers we'd ever had. So I don't know what. We just got people seeking silence coming to our stream, you know.
I think maybe we should just would say the most annoying things before the silence, and then the silence is effective. Anyway, never mind. We'll play the music, and then we'll be back in 5 minutes, 6 minutes?
Yeah, about 5 minutes. Yeah. All right.
See you guys. Ciao. 6 minutes.
Enjoy.
Our moon was created 4.5 billion years ago by a collision between an earlier, smaller version of the planet Earth and a Mars-sized planet known as Theia. In the Greek myth, Theia was one of the Titans and the mother of Selene, the goddess of the moon. Before the collision, Theia had been orbiting the Sun at one of the stable Lagrange points, until a rare conjunction of the planets exerted unusual gravitational forces to make it break free of its stable orbit and to begin its inexorable collision course with the proto-Earth. Unlike the Earth, which was born in the hot inner solar system, Theia originated in the outer solar system and so carried quadrillions of tons of ice. And in the chaos of the high-energy impact in the vacuum of space, this settled on Earth as its water. The moon moderates the wobble of the Earth as it spins, without which the seasons would be extreme and unpredictable, making farming and human habitation impossible. The Earth's axial rotation would also be much faster without the gravitational pull of the moon, and our day would only be 6 to 12 hours long. Earth is tilted at an angle of 23.5 degrees as it rotates on its polar axis, relative to its orbital or the ecliptic plane of the Sun. It's this which is responsible for our seasons, the climate, and what we observe as the two solstices of the Sun. The beautiful dance of automatic precision, the planets and stars move along their finely travelled tracks. But where is the watchmaker? The winter solstice takes place when the Sun is at its maximum angle of declination, 23.5 degrees south of the equator, while the summer solstice is the Sun at its maximum angle of declination, 23.5 degrees north of the equator. At the spring and autumn equinox, the angle of obliquity from our point of observation to the Sun is 0 degrees, and the days and nights have equal length. Solstice means solar standstill, and the Sun appears to stand still as the position of its rising and setting doesn't change for a few days as the midsummer or midwinter peak is reached. Just as a single orbital period of the Sun has 2 solstices a year, there are also 2 solstices during the orbital period of the lunar month. In addition to the 23.5 degree tilt of the Earth, the Moon's orbit around the Earth is also tilted 5.14 degrees. The major lunar standstill occurs when the maximum obliquity of the Earth to the Sun's ecliptic plane is combined with that of the Moon to the Earth's, which makes a maximum obliquity of 28.64 degrees. Since there are 2 lunar solstices a month, we will have a maximum summer lumistice and a maximum winter lumistice in the same month. The Moon will appear remarkable, rising higher even than the summer solstice sun at midday, and the full moon will shine, giving uncanny illumination to the night. 2 weeks later, the moon will rise lower than the midday sun of the winter solstice, and over the course of several hours will slowly caress the distant horizon. And people will ask, what is happening to the moon? Ancient monuments commemorate and predict aspects of these cycles. New Grange in Ireland was built to align with the sunrise of the winter solstice, where for 17 minutes, sunlight enters through a roof box opening above the entrance to send a shaft of light to gradually illuminate the long inner chamber. At Carrickeel in County Sligo, light from the summer solstice sunset passes through Kernche's roof box to travel to the back of the chamber, illuminating in turn 3 different recessed tombs, as well as 2 large, upright standing stones. The Greek 1st century BC writer Diodorus Siculus in Book 2 of his Bibliotheca Historica wrote, "In the regions beyond the land of the Celts, there lies in the ocean an island no smaller than Sicily. This island is situated in the north and is inhabited by the Hyperboreans. The following legend is told concerning it. Leta, the mother of Zeus and Apollo, was born on this island, and for that reason Apollo is honoured among them above all other gods. There is also on the island both a magnificent sacred precinct of Apollo and a notable temple, which is adorned with many votive offerings and is spherical in shape. The account is also given that the god visits the island every 19 years, the period in which the return of the stars to the same place in the heavens is accomplished. At the Neolithic ritual site of Callanish on the island of Lewis in the far north of Scotland, beyond the stone circle lies a range of hills, which are suggestive of a woman lying down. They are known locally as the Sleeping Beauty, but also known as the Old Woman of the Moors. Inside the stone circle are 4 significant stones: a phallic quartz stone, which has a white quartz deposit at the top, and a seam of quartz running down its length; a triangular stone symbolizing the maiden or virgin; a rough stone representing the crone or old woman; and a red stone representing the mother, which glows red at sunset. At the peak of the major lunar standstill, the moon rises at the feet of the Sleeping Beauty to slowly move horizontally, hovering over the hills and making contact with the stones. The moon touches the maiden stone, moves along to the mother stone, then touches the tip of the phallic male stone, being symbolically fertilized by the male energy, and continues along the body of the Sleeping Beauty before finally reaching the crone or old woman stone. A local belief says that at certain times in the midsummer morning the Shining One walks along the stone avenue, and that her arrival is heralded by the call of a cuckoo.
Hey,
Yay!
yo, we're back. We're
That's
back.
not bad track, actually.
Yes, it's nice. It ties in well with what we've been saying.
So yeah, so many funny AI videos. This is quite funny. The most German man in the world. So I'm going to read a bit more, go into a bit more of that stuff about whatever's controlling the world. Just watch this for a bit, yeah. Like, this is really funny. Just brilliant. You should all subscribe to this. Abandoned films. They're doing quite well though. But these things are coming. These things are coming thick and fast now. The AI is getting so much better, and they're getting big audiences. If you remember, we watched AI videos like months ago that only had like 10,000, 9,000 viewers and stuff, and small numbers, 16,000 subscribers and such. All right, I'll go with it. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, go for it.
He arrives 15 minutes early to Zoom calls and still apologizes. He irons his socks. He believes fun should be scheduled and capped at 47 minutes. His first steps were goose steps.
This is titled "Most German Man in the World." Actually, I think I didn't clarify enough, but yeah, the most German man in the world.
The most German man. Like, is that even something to espouse to? Is that even something to?
No, it's amusing though. It's like there's loads of them. They're so funny, and some of them are a bit cheeky and a bit spicy, but you can check them all out.
Socks with sandals to assert dominance. He files his taxes with such precision, the government owes him interest. He waits at red lights at 3 a.m., even when the street is empty. He has to fight off 100 immigrants just to get out of his neighborhood. He has a grandfather in Argentina, but he doesn't like to talk about him. He owns 6 identical gray sweaters for efficiency. He makes reservations at food stalls in Bangkok. He wrote a 48-page guide to assembling IKEA furniture for fun. He explains engine efficiency to people who didn't ask. He builds model trains that run more efficiently than national railways. He proposed to his wife via PowerPoint. He's never smiled in a photo and considers that a strength. He is the most German man in the world.
I don't always drink, but when I do, it's precisely 1 beer measured in milliliters. Stay serious, my friends. Fun is inefficient.
Look at those shorts.
He arrives 15 minutes early to Zoom calls and still...
Yeah, there's loads of them. You can look them up.
I was going to say,
the most Indian man in the world, which is quite. I don't know.
Taking this chat back into, I guess, like a more cosmic thing, like it got me thinking. You see these things, and this is what humans do, and all this blah blah blah. Do you honestly think that there are, like, because you have a much better knowledge of like quantum physics in the universe than me? I'm more of a sort of quote unquote dreamer, in a sense, a philosopher to some degree. Not that you're not, but like you have physics to back your philosophies. But what I was thinking is, like, do you not think that there are just many planets out there that are akin to Earth, that have that it's a similar size to Earth? It may not be exactly the same, obviously, but like it's the oblique spheroid sort of size, and there's civilizations there which are akin to humans as well, and maybe it's just kind of like, this is how you do it, this is how you kind of put life on planets, if you know what I mean. I don't know if that's something that you necessarily, guys,
how you do it.
I feel like we're just a product of another race that is trying to. I think what is most likely, I think if you're going to give me if category A is we developed naturally out of nothing, and category B is we were planted here. Category B seems to be.
Who said developed out of nothing? No. No. It's light. What it is, it's light. Light interacts with methane and gases on Earth, and it creates protein. So life comes from lightning discharges. You can actually create amino acids by discharging lightning into sort of several like methane gases and things like that. Like organic, you make organic material from inorganic compounds, but you have to have lightning discharges massive amounts of energy, and that's possibly where life begins.
Well, that's what I mean. So that is it not just that the Earth is
aliens not needed? No.
Sorry,
aliens not required.
Well, we could be the aliens though, and like it could be like the. I mean, I think actually, to be honest with you, I would if I would put my money on it, I would most definitely say that this is just kind of like. This is how a planet of a sun that is of this kind of size develops. I don't think it's that difficult to, I mean, it's like there's a lot of these out there, by the way. There's a lot of suns of a similar size to our sun, and they may be creating a lot.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The universe is full of life. When you were saying the other week, you said there's no life, but I think it's the contrary. I think the aim of the universe is to create life. I think that's the purpose.
What? I never said there's no life.
It might be the purpose as well, but I think it's the purpose of the universe. Yeah, you did. But there was a time when you said, "Oh, well, there's nothing out there."
No, I never. No, I would never say that. No, that's
because you were frustrated because we couldn't contact aliens and things like that, and you was like, "Oh, well, why is there nothing around here? There's no."
No, but I mean, what I was saying that it's kind of like it's just numbers, though. It's just no. I just like. Well, I want to like actually categorically state that I absolutely believe that there's alien life out there. I absolutely believe.
I know you do, but you were saying because we can't contact them, they're so far away. You just got the impression there was like no life in the universe. I mean, and I sort of said no. Okay. The universe is made to create life, and it's all in the light. That's where it all goes into the planets.
No, I do agree with that. Yeah,
creates chemical organic compounds on there if the environment is right, and then it slowly creates life.
Well, yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, no, I'm just wanted to say that I never. I don't know if I misspoke or whatever, but like I never said that there was no life out there. Obviously, there's life out there. I mean,
no, that's not. The context is what matters, man. I mean, I tried to set the context. Yeah, that you were saying.
Okay, so basically, nothing around it, So the context is like that there's obviously life out there in the universe. That's basically all the context you need to know from me. Anyway.
All right. Okay. So listen, I'll watch another one of these. This one's pretty funny. Is it coming up? Tell me if you can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He is the life of parties he has never attended. If he were to punch you in the face, you would.
Oh, that's not the right one, actually. Oh, that's not the right one. There's a funny one. The most interesting man in the world. It's that one, yeah.
He once climbed Mount Everest by accident. Bartenders ask him for drink recipes. He once ended a border dispute with guacamole. His Wi-Fi password is used by NASA. His house looks like it was built by ancient Egyptians. Because it was. Baristas get nervous spelling his name wrong. Jet lag adjusts its schedule around him. He once won a marathon.
Oh, that's a bit of a weird AI face. So yeah, there's a whole series of those. They're pretty funny, actually.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's going to happen in the next few years? What is going to happen in the next few years, AI-wise? It's going to be kind of interesting because what the hell are we going to do?
Well, you apparently have a very positive outlook. We're all going to have free food, and
I think the transitional period, the transitional period is going to be the problem. I do think that we will get to that positive outcome, definitely. But it's just a trend. I'm not sure how we're going to transition to that. That's. I don't trust the people in charge to be able to transition us to that properly, and I can't I just don't think we're going to. I just think it's going to be a problem getting to that point. We will get to that point, which is going to be great. Pretty much free food, pretty much free travel, pretty much free every basic thing, because that's kind of the point of like creating a humanity. If you're gonna put a humanity, like the progress of the humanity, if you're gonna put a humanity on a planet, you need to get to this point, isn't it? And then when they get to this point, then that maximizes their ability to be creative. And then when their creative ability is maximized, then we move forward from that with the requisite intelligence undergirding it. That's kind of part of the thing of creating humans or civilization or whatever. But yeah, so sorry for rambling along a little bit there. But yeah, this is kind of like I've always been pro. I'm always a pro alien person. I'm a pro alien person. Let's say.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, listen, I'd like to continue to this guy Falk, because this is quite weird how it all ended up. Because it's like that thing I'm talking about, how realities and the observer reality kind of things can start to coalesce around you, or you can make coincidences happen with that sort of, with that quantum mechanics, with that idea that you are the observer. And I'll read something later by Jacques Vallée that suggests that reality is not temporal, but it's by association. So this is why you get coincidences, because it's how reality is built, that things are naturally meant to make sense and fit together, which is what a coincidence is.
It's interesting how coincidences always seem to make sense backwards. Like when you review them in a backwards time sense, coincidences more than often make more sense than they do at the time, which is
okay. Yeah. So can you think of an example?
Oh, I see you put me on the spot there, but like,
well, not really, because you know about the Bonjela thing. Did you mention that before?
Well, there's the Bonjela thing, and there was also stuff that happened with neighbors around that time as well, and yeah, it's kind of like well, the Bonjela thing was kind of like finding the little sort of toothpaste type tube before I even had the ailment as such. But I just feel but my point is more that kind of like I think
you were thinking, why did I find this? What's the point in this? And then a few days later, you got a cold sore. So you thought, that's why I found it, because it was backwards causality. That's what that's called. When something in the present needs a solution in the past.
Yeah, and my point is more that like my point of view of when I look at things like time is I don't see time as kind of like a straight arrow. I see time as kind of like a field in a way. That's not a great word because of physics and stuff. But like I don't see time. But basically, I don't see time as something that runs straight forward. And I think then if you don't see time like that, you start to understand time a lot better. If you think about time as this thing that is like, unconditionally linear, then you're going to kind of like trip yourself up a little bit when you come.
Well, it isn't quite that. I mean, time. We do perceive time running forward in our 3D
we do,
state.
but like, I think
it's just that we do have part of us that transcends time and that can connect past and future and past and present. There's part of us that operates beyond time. Like when we sleep, we're beyond time. So we sometimes can have deja vu and premonitions about things that are going to happen in the future, because there isn't any, because in eternity in the dream, because you have no perception of time in a dream. Things just happen sequentially. Like by association.
Yeah, and sorry, and also dreams, they're oftentimes realer than real, whatever that means. But you experience something that is realer to your perception than wakeful reality, in my opinion, anyway. Like I'm not saying that every dream that you have, but like I'm someone who has, I've said this before on the show. For whatever reason, I am someone who, for some reason, has a lot of lucid dreams. And lucid dreams, you think, oh, good, that's nice that you have lucid dreams and you feel like you're alive in the dream. Yeah, that's great and everything, but you have a lot of them. It gets a bit, to some degree, tedious. But like, yeah, it's, but also, it kind of makes you really question what is the blur in the line? What is the line between, what is quote unquote reality and quote unquote dream world? Because a lucid dream, I would say a lucid dream with complete confidence is exactly the same, if not more real, whatever that means, than living in wakeful reality. And it's a like trying to take that forward into your life. it's not the thing that you can kind of really take forward, if you know what I mean. It's a tricky one. I don't know what you think about it, Truthspin.
About I don't know about what about
deep.
like lucid dreams are more real than reality.
What I mean, our lucid dreams, because they're so much more stark and sort of emotive. Are they just?
I mean, you've got to give examples really, because you know what I mean. Kind of.
Oh, you
sell
want to
it.
give me?
You got to sell it, man. Because I mean, we could all have a different idea of what you mean by a lucid dream, you know.
Okay, so let me.
I often get things coming on through the verge of consciousness into this, like you think you've heard the door bang or something, but I get that wherever I go, and it's kind of like a stray ghost or something that's knocking the door occasionally, and I don't mind it, but it's like, yeah, sometimes you get that. It's like subliminal. You know, the dreams realm is sort of unconscious or mostly, so you don't remember it, but there's a liminal state, liminal consciousnness where you're on the edge between the two worlds. And I had a cat haunt me once when I was in that state. Cat we had to put down, and I was sleeping, and I felt this pair from a cat, but it was like inside my head, and it was everywhere. And then I felt this cold sort of feeling run up against the side of my body, and it was the cat pairing who we had put down a few days before, because I couldn't face putting it down, so I just gave it to the vet to deal with it. And he said, "Do you want to be here when I die?" I was like, "Oh, no," I was insensitive, but I would have done it now. I'd have gone and stayed with the cat, but I didn't. The cat didn't say goodbye, so as a consequence, it came to haunt me a few days later, and it was pretty cool. It's like, oh well, cats have souls too. That's awesome, because good cats are good.
So, I think animals definitely do have souls. I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry, just 2 minutes. I'll be back.
Right, well, I'm going to wrap this thing up. My little big thing here about this thing. This is all about almost like this is about retrocausality and how things that happen in the past can be connected to the future. It's really weird. So we heard about this guy, this Belshazzar, this rabbi from the 18th century, folk, and that's one of the hidden rules of Freemasonry, and instrumental in providing money for the French Revolution and such like that. London gold. So he was a Sabbatean capitalist linked to some of the worst excesses of bloodshed in the 18th century in the form of the French Revolution. So what happened is, as I was researching this, I found out that I was his neighbor for nearly a year, because his bones were about 100 meters from literally where I slept at university at Stocks Court in Stepney Green. And the man is buried around the corner from my old Hawser residence in Stepney Green, and he's commemorated at the Jewish cemetery. He's remembered and commemorated as his gravestone has a raised platform with a metal box underneath it containing many small tea lights, which no doubt are lit to commemorate him. So this is a top Sabbatean Kabbalist, and Bel Shem, which is like the Lord, the Lord of the name, and the name Shem is supposed to be God. It's the mysterious name of God. The epitaph reads on the tomb: "Here is interred the aged and honorable man, a great personage who came from the East, an accomplished sage, an adept in Kabbalah. His name was known to the ends of the earth and distant isles." So the university was built around and incorporated several old parcels of Jewish cemetery, and one such was sandwiched between the Faculty of English building I attended for 3 years and a medical building. And I'm just surprised that the knowledge of this man who's behind so much of what's happened to the West and the modern world, and how the organizations he used to control it, and how he made it happen, and the intrigues that they went about to turn, for example, opinion against Marie Antoinette. So they've been lying. This kind of man, and his body at least, had been lying almost under my nose, like while I was at university. So his body lies in the old Velho Jewish cemetery of Mile End, behind a building called the Albert Stern House, named after a Jewish engineer in charge of British tank production during World War I. When compared to the new recent towering halls of residence of this part of East London, seems almost hidden. This is small grey stone building, well, 4 stories or so, but comparatively small grey building. The building, this building also has a hall for residence, and outside there's a couple of plaques in Hebrew, in English and Hebrew. One of them is commemorating a Jewish hospital, which used to be on the site, and the cemetery behind it. And also, one plaque commemorates someone called Edward Lombroso Macata from the Jewish family of financiers, who originally from Portugal. He died in 1915. Dennis Wheatley, in his 1930s horror novel The Devil Rides Out, features an odious character called Macata, who is the foreign leader of a satanic cult and has the ability to conjure demons. So one wonders if this Macata is the Macata that Dennis Wheatley wrote about. He's very odious to Macata in Dennis Wheatley's story. Yes,
we love a bit of demon conjuring. Like, do you know what? Like, because you're somebody who I, obviously respect the opinion of a lot in terms of quantum stuff and physics stuff. For me to, have that respect for you, and then for you to talk like the way you do about demons is interesting. Do you know what I mean? Because it's not something that it's not something that I'm particularly, like, I don't know really if I have a massive opinion on it, to be honest with you, because I don't have enough evidence. But like, for someone like you, who I do respect your opinion of, to be talking quite confidently about like the existence of demons and the apparition of demons and the way that the demons
yeah, but it's just if these guys do that. That's what I'm saying. I mean, if you don't believe in demons, they do.
It's interesting to me. It's just
You know what I
interesting.
mean?
Like, why would you be saying that? Like you've not really got anything to gain.
No, this is just this is the thing. This is where the evidence takes you. They are into demons.
Yeah, go on.
Amulets and the occult, and so what that made me realize something, and it's that thing I've been working on, the idea of retrocausality. So I researched this. I think I wrote this about a year ago or so, a couple of years ago, and but doing it, finding that Falk's body, well, not finding his body, but finding he was buried there, and such a man who's just been such a wow, just he's achieved goals for his people at our detriment. But yeah, like this Kabbalist, this guy who conjures demons. Yeah, Hayam Samuel Jacob Falk, 18th century Kabbalist. But it made me think. It made me realize where events in the past can be influenced by events in the future, which sounds counterintuitive. But the past can be influenced by the future because in the sort of 4D realm there is no time, so everything's already connected. But we only perceive time running in that direction, so they can be connected in some way which indicates an ordering outside of time, basically. And Jacques Vallée is always someone I referred to a lot in my writings and on the show. Jacques Vallée, he came up on a similar theory. He calls it the associative universe, and he postulates the theory that the universe is not ordered in space and time but by associations, that there is a mechanism of order which tries to group associative events, and that's what we call coincidence. And it reveals an innate or associative order of the universe which exists beyond our perception of linear time. But we can glimpse it by observing things like these coincidences, or these examples of something where
I think
you were somewhere in the past and it's become significant in the present that you were there at that time, and that there was also like the history of Jacob Falk there and everything else.
I think it's.
I'm just going to read this. Yeah, I'll just read this quote by Jacques Vallée, right? Because I just want to, and then we can discuss what you think about it. So I'll just read this. I believe that there's a system around us that transcends time, and it transcends space. I remain confident that human knowledge is capable of understanding this larger reality. I suspect that some humans have already understood it and are showing their hand in several aspects of the UFO encounters. If there's no time dimension, as we usually assume there is, we may be traversing events by association. Perhaps I had anyway. Yeah, so that's a particular example. So we live in the associative universe of the software scientist rather than the sequential universe of the space-time physicist. So, like how computers store information by associations, not temporally, but by associations, and you store files by associations. This is how reality would really work. So every time I come up with these parallels of how computers and what the kind of realities they can model, that they can actually, our reality could be similar to that, but on a more evolved scale. So yeah, that's about the size of that quote. Yeah.
But also, it's kind of like, I totally basically agree with the sort of like sentiment of that. But where we disagree is kind of on the multiverse thing, isn't it? Like, I think there's probably multiple universes. Sorry, and I think you disagree with that. You think that this is all that we have is enough. I would argue that there's
More than enough.
way more possible than we think. Because when you say more than enough, you're more than enough as a human thinking.
Have you seen those superstructures? We showed them on last week's show. Those superstructures in the universe.
The Dyson spheres, no? Sorry.
No. Like the superstructures that are composed of galaxy.
Oh
clusters.
yeah, of course. I
mean, you can tell me there's not enough stuff there to be getting on with. In terms of they were just galaxies and they just became
that's kind of my point, though.
They were galaxy clusters that connected up. I can't even imagine that kind of size. Listen, I get freaked out in London with 8 million people sometimes, imagining all those people around me. But just you talk about the total perspective vortex. It just blows my mind. That is mind blowing.
No, I mean, because like, obviously, when you try to think about it, like, there's obviously like probably lots of Earths and humans, and lots of aliens that kind of look a little bit like us but aren't quite like us, and there's probably a lot of increments basically of what we are, and that is the truth of it. And there's a lot of them out there, and whether they visit us or not is another fucking question. I'm not saying they necessarily do, but I mean, in terms of probability, I mean, like, fucking hell, of course they're out there. I mean, like, you'd have to be a very, very seriously thick fucking person to say.
We've got quite a lot of comments now. Actually, we've got a few comments we can address. Yeah,
this is what I was saying. I grew up Christian, never known a God story where he is secretive, mysterious. He mostly sent a herald or symbol. Secrecy is associated with the devil. What do you think about that?
I don't know what was that a reference. What was the secretive thing a reference to? God's story. I don't know. Was there a reference to us? Don't know. What do you think of it?
I need to. I'm reading it again for a second time.
Okay,
I guess where I would look at it is that God isn't secretive.
I guess the point is then. I guess the point he's making is that Freemasons, because they're in secret, they are the devil, and that's obvious. That's absolutely true. So that's the point.
Okay. Oh yeah. Here he says it. Yeah. Look.
Yeah. So that makes total sense. Yeah.
All right. Big up. Why not? Yeah. We get. We definitely get what you're saying. We agree with what you're saying as well. Definitely. It's just like, it is a crazy situation, isn't it? I grew up Christian, never known a God story where he is secretive, mysterious. He must blah blah blah. Religion does seem to be used as it seems to be stating the obvious too much, doesn't it? Overstating the obvious. That the religion is used as a control factor. And my point has always been, you don't need religion to connect to God. God is there. Just talk to him or her.
To be honest, though, you never used to like the word God, though. Do you remember?
That's true. Yep.
Yeah. So I think that's a good thing. I mean, yeah. Whatever God is, I mean, a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of fucking terrible churches and bad, horrible priests, and there's a lot of deliberate Masonic corruption of the church, and they're most likely the perverts and stuff like that. So
I remember
the Illuminati went out of their way to do that from the beginning to get into the church. That's what they said they were going to do: destroy it from inside.
We were drinking whiskey when we had that conversation as well. I remember that conversation. Like, I didn't like the word God, and I'm a bit more affable to it now, because you remember that conversation was bloody at least 3-4 years ago, man. Do you know what I mean? At least, maybe even before COVID, to be honest.
I think that was over a quack, wasn't it? Was that a quack conversation?
Yeah. It could have been whiskey or quack, which is not a bad choice. Not a bad choice.
So we're just going to wrap up a little bit with this stuff here. Is that showing on the screen? Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I can see that.
So this is still about these people, right? So we got an article by Marsha Shouchard here, and revealing that Manuel Swedenborg as a sort of ghost, as a sort of top Freemason, protege of Cagliostro, and sort of demon whisperer. He included Masonic sounding passages about rebuilding the temple. He says, they shall build a temple not like the former, but one that shall endure as long as the world shall endure. And afterwards, returning from the places of exile, they shall build up Jerusalem gloriously. And therein shall be built a temple. So this is what the Masons want. This is where it's all going.
So why? What has that even done to get us excited about that? I'm not excited about the prospect of that, to be honest. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
Yeah, well, this is just what I do. This is my research. So this is, if you want to know what's happening in the world, then this is what's happening in the world, bro. Do you know what I mean? And this is who's doing it. You know, just newsflash, because this is, we need to know. You know,
I know there's a lot of earthquakes, which we need to pay attention to. There is a lot of that as well, and you know, but I guess, like, would you also, to be honest with you, like, would you judge it as like that unusual though? Because what I'm saying is, the Earth is commonly under difficult times. You know, it's difficult times most of the time. You know, so I mean, what's the world going to do? The world's just going to kind of like, you know, keep trying to like pump out. Keep trying to pop out humans are all right. But yeah. Anyway, that was one thing. I mean, maybe we should get into our like Christian and space fucking debate again. But yeah.
Okay, hang on.
But it's weird how we've got kind of like just the Fermi paradox. How does the Fermi paradox even exist? It's like it's just weirdness to me, man. It's just so weird to me, man. How can you even have a paradox? How can you even have the sort of audacity to talk about a Fermi paradox, you dumbass? Like, you've got fucking, not you, obviously.
Who are you talking to? What are you on about?
I'm talking about general people. Like, general people. It's like, why will people talk about...
Who's talking about the Fermi paradox, anyway?
Why would people talk about a Fermi fucking paradox when we've got a fucking, like, 200 trillion galaxies that we can see? That's a start. That's a start on what we have on the universe, which is probably about, like, 10 times at least more than that. But people want to talk to me about no fucking life on other planets. All right, then. Do you know what it is? It's like, this is what life is like. This is what life does. You know, YouTube channels, fucking speakers and fans and
all right. Could you do me a favor? Could you remove that that comment from the screen, please? Because I want to play this video. Yeah, cheers. Okay, this one's this is spicy, so just be careful, okay?
He negotiates at the ATM. He tips with coupons, then asks for change. He doesn't celebrate Christmas, but he installs a parking meter on his roof, just in case. After his meal arrives, the waiter comes over and asks, "Is anything all right?" He still clips the ridges off coins, just to stay up on his skill set. He's already suing this channel. When his son asked to borrow $20, he accepted and lent him $10. His favorite movie is a few dollars more. He's never seen it, he just likes the title. His hands have been rubbing together for so long, he started a fire and a lawsuit. He causes traffic jams when there is loose change on the street. When he goes shopping, companies write IOUs to him for his purchases. Around other Jews, he's Jewish. Around everyone else, he's white. When he loses a debate with another person, he calls them an anti-Semite. He's been kicked out of 109 bars and still blames the bars. He blesses bagels before slicing and debates you on which schmear is kosher. He is the most Jewish man in the world.
I don't always drink, but when I do, I keep the glass, the napkin, and the receipt for tax reasons. Stay frugal, stay suspicious, stay kosher.
It's for tax. It's for tax purposes.
It's pretty spicy, that one. Yeah, I like that one. All right, man. I think what do you want to do? I could play another. I got a couple more tracks from Sandwich Pan to play. Or I could play one of your tracks, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've got one track left on the media assets. What do you want to anything else you want to sort of like wrap up with? I mean, like, look, it's interesting thinking about the universe, isn't it? It's interesting thinking about kind of like what is our what do you think? Like, do you think our solar system is very unique? Do you think it's a unique solar system, or do you think it's just like one that's very common? And then, if it's one that's very common, doesn't that mean that human life is very common?
Yeah, I think the fact that we're here proves that it must be kind of fairly common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fact that there's so many suns that are the same fucking size as our sun. So, I mean, the law of averages obviously means that there's other humans out there. For me,
I suppose that's my logic, is because since I'm here and it works. It's sort of what should nature technology thing to make life work. So it must be happening all over the place. But it's so far away, you know what I mean? So
yeah, and it's kind of the thing that kind of annoys me about, like, you know, having human life and all that kind of stuff is like, you know, we're not going to know what insights the future is going to bring. That's the annoying thing, I suppose, about being.
Well, I don't think you should be bothered by it, mate, because listen, I realized something like a while ago that this Earth is just an illusion, and it's not. There's nothing here that has any real value, you know. Like, I mean,
yeah, I mean, I guess if you
even Shakespeare, I mean, I'll do like Shakespeare, and he's amazing, but that wasn't Shakespeare. That was Francis Bacon, and he was Rosicrucian, and it's all sort of tied up with intrigue and magic and secret societies, and it's just been corrupted from day one, really, especially from the 18th century. But I don't know, man. I ain't gonna hang on to this world. I'm not gonna regret not missing out on how much worse pop music is going to be. You know, do I really want to hang around for that? You know,
well, I think it's kind of like the way that they sort of cultivate the next world is going to be something that you want to be a part of, more than being a part of this. And it's kind of
you mean 4D and you return to the light? Is that what you mean? That's where I want to be, man. Yeah. Because then you can be anywhere at any time. You know, you could come to Earth if you wanted to at any time, but you wouldn't. You'd be like, you know.
That's for me. The thing with like lucid dreaming is because it's kind of like the amount of times I do it, and it's kind of like almost as if I don't like sort of lose consciousness as such. And you know, it's look, it's quite a engaging experience. Let's put it that way. But yeah, you have to kind of like come back down to what we sort of like look at as our wakeful reality. It's like then, but it just gives you the notion. It gives you the idea of what is possible, and yeah, that's what I've really liked about it. Thankfully, like, you know, the lucid dreams kind of repeat as well. You get like it's strange, man. You get like repeated lucid dreams, so it's not just one or the other and all that. I don't know if it's like
you're not trapped. You're not trapped in like waking up on Friday the 13th every morning, are you? Because there's quite I think there's a Twilight episode about that.
It's almost like there's one time span. Yeah, it's almost like there's one time span sometimes with them. But then they kind of like they do trap you a little bit, but you don't really think about it as a trap because, like, at the point of being in there,
you have to go into more detail because it's kind of like I'm only getting like glimpses and images. I mean, can you explain in detail like a recurring lucid
dreams? Like the recurring lucid dreams that I used to have were, I mean, it's quite difficult to sort of like put into words per se, but they're quite expansive. So your I guess ability to traverse the reality that you're experiencing in a lucid dream is quite expansive. So you can do quite a lot.
What kind of things do you do then?
Well, you have you're just talking in a moment.
You in a massive 4-dimensional orgy or something?
Not quite. So yeah, I mean, like I just kind of like was trying to navigate it kind of like you would navigate a lucid dream, basically, because that's the closest thing you have to it. Okay. So a lucid dream
But we've got no details, though. You didn't give us any details about what happens in the
I'm trying to find. You know what, man? I was trying to find that fucking lucid dream that I sent to you. Do you know what I mean? The one that I sent. Do you know what? It must be an email, mustn't it? Fucking bullshit. I'm such a fucking thick cunt. I was trying to find because I had a lucid dream about over a year ago, and I sent it to Truthspoon. He was like, "Fucking hell, that's crazy." But I can't find it. I need to
find it now. I could play a song and we could find it, right?
Yeah,
How about
maybe play a song. Yeah, maybe just something like that.
All right, and all right, I'll bang a song on and try. You find it, and I'll try and see who wins first. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'll be back.
All right. Yeah. Hang on. I can't find the track now. This is from Sandwich Pan, and it's called "You Fat Bastard." Part 2. And we have Sandwich Pan and You Fat Bastard Part 2.
Sandwich Pan is.
How's it going, Future Joe?
Are they actually from Grimsby?
Gloria, you didn't say anything else, okay?
Oh, okay.
We're underground, okay, right now. We're not quite coming out yet, okay? We should keep kisses. Yeah.
My lips are sealed.
Yeah. But yeah, they are. So anyway, yeah, but got some tracks by them that I'd love to play, but
it's a great place though. Like, it's interesting how like I remember probably about 7 or 8 years ago, because we've known each other about 10-ish years. I don't want to sort of speculate too up and down above 10, but I think it's about 10 years. And I remember you saying to me about 10 years ago, this is about 10 years ago, to clarify, to sort of like hit home that point, that if you were happy to pay £5, you're happy to have a pint in London. That was 10 years ago. And nowadays it's kind of like fucking hell. If you're happy to pay £7, if you're happy to pay £8,
yeah, I'd go to a place where you can get Guinness for $5.50, and that's a steal. That's the fucking sale of the century. I always go to Guinness there because it's like the cheapest Guinness in London for $5.50. I don't even know how much it is in Wetherspoons. How much is a Guinness in Wetherspoons?
It's probably 4 something. I don't know.
Is it? Actually, got
no way it's in 3, is it?
Huh?
There's no way it's in 3. It's 4 something.
Well, it's funny you mentioned £5 because I was looking for that thing you know about the lucid dream, and I think I found the first message I ever got from you on my forum, and it says, "Hi there, I sent £5 for the Secrets of the Universe PDF," and you sent I think that's your email address, and you requested a copy of my book for a PDF, and you gave me a £5. That's you, mate.
That's
that was 2015. That was 10 years ago.
Well, that was what? Would you mean? Are you seeing it's like my first contact?
It looks like it, yeah. That can't be though, no, because I knew you on the Ag forum, didn't I?
Yeah, it would have been on the forum.
Of course, yeah.
But still, it's a kind of fun thing. Though.
£5, yeah.
It's a fun thing, you know. And then obviously, I would end up contributing to the next one, or you know, later editions of books. So yeah. So that was always good. I mean, it's kind of like. Do you know what's a weird thing? It's kind of like, sorry, Truthful, just to say sorry.
No, I'm not going on into anything particular. Yeah.
What I was just going to say quickly, sorry, was that I suppose when you grow up in the countryside and all this kind of stuff, like you kind of like, I don't want it to sound kind of like morose or whatever, but like you kind of like you sit out your window and you look at a countryside view of stars and a niceness. So it's kind of like it's a bit different to where you grow up somewhere else, maybe more urban or whatever sort of thing. So that's kind of why I think I kind of always had this kind of like a little bit of a creative kind of edge. However, it's not like I've not got professional yet, so I'm not trying to say that I'm great or anything. So yeah, man. I'm not really sure exactly what my point was, but that was it really. And you know what my point was, growing up in the countryside and being able to see stars is a nice thing. It's a very, very nice thing. Being in the countryside, growing up in the English countryside, and growing up in a house where you're looking out of your window and then you can just see stars across the night sky without any problem, without any light pollution, without any issue, basically. You know, it's a good thing. It is a great thing. It's a great thing. Yeah. What have you brought here?
Yeah. Okay, so listen, I just want to carry on with this a little bit because I've just found a bit more information. This origins of the history of the order and legend, according to Ramsey of Freemasonry. This is a pretty interesting thing I found here. Each family, each republic, and each empire whose origin is lost in obscure antiquity has its fable and its truth and its legend, its history, its fiction, and its reality. Some of them trace our institution back to the time of Solomon. This is the Freemasons we're talking about. Moses, the patriarchs of Noah himself. This is the interesting bit. Some others claim that our founder was Enoch, the grandson of Protoplast. Now, Enoch was the son of this Enoch. Enoch here, whose father named Sitya, and his father was Cain. And if you look at who could be the parent of Cain, or the mother of Cain, if you look at protoplast, you get the word Lilith, and that Lilith. This is an esoteric allusion to Lilith as being the mother of Cain, and basically this is what some Masons claim. So if they only revere Enoch, whose father was Cain, and who's this making Enoch the grandson of what they call a protoplast, in the esoteric sense, I believe that they're referring to the demon Lilith. But so here's so built the first city and named it after him. So that's what they're saying are the origins of Freemasonry, is that it's basically Cain and Enoch, which is why I call them the Canaanites. Well, I'm not the only one, but I think that they're the actual Canaanite religion, disguising itself as.
So it's just basically kind of like
whether it be the church or whether it be Judaism, wherever it even be Islam, there's this Canaanite group that is ancient family network that really controls things from the inside.
Ignorance, I suppose, right? Ignorance, I think.
About what?
Echo. I'm getting a fucking echo, man. Okay.
Ignorance about what?
No, I'm getting a real echo when I talk. Hang on one second.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that is okay now.
You got no echo here, bro. You're fine.
Okay, that's fine. I was getting an echo here for some reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, go on. Sorry.
Okay, I've finished, bro.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, fucking. I was.
Yeah, you said it's ignorance. What do you mean by that?
What was I talking about? Sorry. What were we talking about? Sorry. Ignorant. Religions. I mean, not ignorance, I suppose. Maybe it's not the right word, but it's kind of like, why do you need it? Like, why do you need to be like, God is there, right by your side. Well, you can talk to him, her, however you want to look at it. It's there, right over your shoulder. Why you need to sort of like extrapolate it out into some sort of like Hindu or Islam or Christian or whatever?
I don't think we should. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to start religious wars here, though. Do you know what I mean? Honestly, I'm not stepping on their toes. You know what I mean?
No.
I don't know. I don't judge people. I don't even judge religion. I don't judge Hindus or whatever. If I know a lot of Muslims really seem to be nice people and are great people, but some of them are not nice people, but have to pretend to be nice people in Islam, and some people are just not bad people, and they don't care about being bad people. But I guess it's the same everywhere. But I mean,
you asked me.
I mean, I've lived in, where I've lived all over the world, so I just take people. You see the best people in their own countries at home, where they come from and where they live. That's how you really get to know what these people really are about. Not if they're agitating to things in your own country.
I was just saying it because you were kind of like, oh well, what do you think about it, sort of thing. But yeah. Anyway, go on. Sorry.
No, see, I made my point, bro. Yeah, I made my point. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I don't disrespect people who are religious, and I don't.
No, I just don't. Yeah, but I just don't want to get into. I'm not going to start saying religion. This religion's wrong. This religion. I just, you know what I mean. And live and let live, man. I mean, I know who's doing what to us, and and it's time we all did. So
I just think
and how they're doing it and what they're doing it for. That's what we need to start finding out, and just integrating that knowledge into our lives, sharing it with other people, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like let's move on. So when we talk about the fourth dimension, people often talk about like I don't know if you want to go. By the way, sorry, I'm not trying to keep you up or anything, but like. I was thinking about the fourth dimension a little bit recently, as I kind of do in amongst all the other fucking stupid shit that I think about. And I was thinking kind of like, so it's like trying to understand the escapism from a 3D body experience, I suppose, and spirits of the experience into like 4D, because 4D seems to be that is that higher thing. but how is that higher thing ordered? And that's kind of because that higher thing has to be ordered to some degree, and this is always it's what's kind of fascinating me a little bit about like, okay, yeah, you can say that, okay, in 4D you can have whatever you want because you're outside of 3D, you're outside of 3D realms and the implications of those realms. But you know, if you don't have like a kind of grounding in what it's supposed to be, it's going to be a little bit tricky. So I just kind of wondered what 4D was supposed to look like, and I just kind of wondered about that, and I don't know, and I still feel like, I know you showed me the picture the other day of this sort of like half deflated balloon, which was kind of pushing out reality, and I do think that that is correct to some degree. Like basically, you're sort of like reality is kind of being pushed out to a degree. So for the nexus points, the very local, super local points of the particles and stuff are kind of like, you know, the connecting points to the next dimension kind of thing. So like the sort of Planck level and the activity that happens at the Planck level, for example, I believe to be like a connection point. And how do you connect to that point? I don't particularly know. And how you kind of like wind your way into that, I don't particularly know. But I just
listen, if you start meditating, you can find out. You can meditate, do Zen meditation, and you literally can experience different sizes of the universe inside yourself. You can actually have the whole universe inside your mind if you meditate really deeply, you know. Yeah, then you have like an out-of-body experience, basically. If you meditate so much, like what you have to do, you have like half an hour of silence. You can have no thoughts in your mind, even emotions or nothing.
Have you had one?
It's like you totally disconnected your mind from your body, or your soul from your mind, and you disconnected, and then you're sort of, wow, that is amazing. And you start to breathe, you start to move, you start to feel your four-dimensional body is moving at the speed of light, and then suddenly the universe is inside you. And I suppose then you're one with the light. That would be what it feels like, because you're everywhere at once. You know, you're in the light. You're the whole universe. And you know, I mean, that sounds big-headed, but it's just what you can achieve when you know, we find out who we are, and we meditate and we focus our mind on things like that. You know.
Have you had something that you would sort of like classify as a out-of-body experience or lucid dream?
Yeah, that stuff just happened to me a lot. You know, that's yeah. So in that case, definitely, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I
whenever I meditated, that's what I got that experience. But I haven't had that for a while. I wonder if it's because I'm now sort of more. I don't know. It's like, I don't know. Maybe I think that 4D part of what used to be inside me has become more externalized. So it's like really weird. But I meditated the other day, and to my left I had the sun. And it's like it was right by me as like a force, like a magnetic energy. And because I always used to tell you, if you remember Future Shock, I said, you'll train your mind, try and close your eyes and try and imagine a sunny day.
Yeah.
And try and put yourself in a sunny day in a nice situation with grass, and then if you can create that in your mind, then you're on the way to sort of create a kind of astral heaven, you know, or at least being part of that. Because once you connect with the light, you know, you sort of drawn towards it, and I don't know, it's a spiritual process.
That's definitely true, and I think it makes a lot of sense to try and do that. And then also the kind of funny thing is that thing is just on the verge of wiping us all out so easily.
I know, it's funny, isn't it? It's ironic, isn't it? Ironic. We'll say that when lava's coming up to your ground floor flat door. Yeah, isn't it ironic?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, I mean, it's just a weird situation to be in, isn't it? And also, there's so many cosmic things that can eventually get us, and they're on the kind of like cosmic sort of like 1 to 2, 3, 4, 5. They're on the cosmic sort of like, you know, 1 to 4, 1 to 5, or whatever. But yeah, so what were we talking about before? Sorry, we were talking about we were talking about. Do you know what I learned about this fucking week as well? By the way, I learned about asteroids within the solar system.
Go on. You got something new.
I went down a little dark hole. Went down a little sort of rabbit hole.
Went down a black hole.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, obviously, with the way that the planets move in it's difficult. They're moving. Obviously, there's a lot of influence. Let's put it that way. But yeah, so what Jupiter does in terms of shepherding the asteroids away from the Earth, it's mostly shepherding. I mean, it's not. Look, if Jupiter was.
Didn't we have this before? Is this new information though?
I am not sure.
You told us about Jupiter shepherding. We've had it. We've had it, right?
We talked before Jupiter. I'm not. Anyway,
have you got anything new about it though?
What I was saying was basically I was learning about the different, not just the Jupiter sort of shepherding stuff. I was learning about the different sort of meteor shower, sort of, what do you call them? I don't know. Meteor shower sort of like areas.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of like I was doing that. And I was
they're very interesting. We have one every sort of late summer.
The Pleiades and also the Tauri, and
it's not the Pleiades, but it's what is it? Something like that, isn't it? It's not the Pleiades. The Pleiades are the seven sisters, isn't it? It's a cluster of stars.
I don't know if I can pronounce it properly, but
I know what you mean though. Yeah, I can't remember either.
But yeah, no. So because I grew up, where I grew up was
Perseids. I didn't even have to look for it. There's a Perseids, I think it is, right? It's called.
Okay.
Perseid, like meteor shower, yeah. Perseid, yeah. It's usually mid-July to late August. It's usually, I mean, up north, you see them every year. It's quite amazing. It's quite, yeah. Have you ever seen that? The Perseids meteor shower every year because it's all by the sun.
I've seen a few. I don't know what they were as such. I know my dad would sit me down.
Because that's probably the time, an optimum time people can be outside in clear skies. So everyone's seen the Perseids already, I think.
I think it's probably the Perseids. It doesn't really matter that much because they're very small. The things that worry me more than anything.
Oh, I see. In terms of danger.
Mm-hmm. In terms of danger, I mean, like Oumuamua is one of the more sort of like worrying ones because nobody. It was only 3. I think it was only 3 miles long, so it wasn't really that big. But nobody realized it was coming. So nobody realized that it was a thing. So if it hit in a different way, it would be very, very different. We would be having a very different conversation. But thankfully, it didn't.
Okay. Oh.
Thankfully.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, we just got to keep our eye on the sun right now. Yeah. And I tell you what. Listen, we've got about 20 as well. There's a few people on BitChute. I think there's a few people on X, but oh man, we've really got to make this. Is there anyone? I'm not encouraging magic, but someone's got to make it rain because it's fucking getting hot in this country, in London, man. It's getting too hot now. Listen, I'm being serious now. I spoke to a guy who worked by the rivers, and he was cleaning out the rivers at one of these charities, river charity. And in fact, I actually spoke to him, and he'd be interested in being on the show and talking about some of the things we talk about. He's involved with the river charity, and he says that if this weather continues until August, there'll be no drinking water. There'll be no tap water. So I don't know. I mean, that's based on not so much the sun. Of course it is, but it's the fault of Thames Water that they're so inefficient that they lose 700 million litres of water a day or something. I think even more than that. So yeah, so we got to keep an eye. Are you still there, Future Shock? All right, he's gone. So I don't know where he's gone, but he's gone. So I don't want to play out without him. I'll just put a tune on. I wonder if I should put the other song on. Is he muted himself? He has. He's out of it. He's not here. All right, I'm going to bang a song on. Which one should we have? This is a cracker. This is always a good one.
to script your short, pretend to read them to believe it was essential. Never take his love with opioids. Lost right to respond, bringing back from the beyond. But with fentanyl, you know it kills so many. Not the ladies need a magic wand. The gangs are going eight out of bed and nothing rain. This obsession with repression turn that really, really city into a hellscape.
Okay, and I'm back. Okay, just me. Right, folks. I'm gonna. Oh, he's back. He's in. He's here. How you doing, Future Shot?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. That ended up.
The covers there, and I thought
we
you were asleep under the blanket.
We got
still awake.
Go on. Sorry.
I thought you'd snuck under the covers and fallen asleep under the blanket or something.
Oh, God, no.
All right. Well, listen, we've done 3 hours. We've put a good shift in. All right. So we got good numbers. We're all right. We're happy with that. Right. So let's say goodbye to the nice boys and girls. Yeah.
Well, it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. It's been good. It's been a good Sunday. It's been a good Sunday. It's still Sunday, yes. I've lost track of the last few days because of various things. Anyway, big up to everybody who has listened. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I hope you guys have learned something as well. Do you know what I mean?
I put a query I put a question on the screen asking what day they think we could go live and what time is better. So one of your football mates, he says the weekend evening should be fine. So this ain't bad for a Sunday, is it? But we just have to be more regular so people know when we're on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, this is our biggest. This is probably.
It ain't our biggest, but it's no.
In terms of Sundays, this is probably our biggest Sunday, isn't it? So.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right there. Yeah, right. That's a point of progress then. So that's a good one.
But it is good that we the kind of the universe recognizes that we're trying to do good things. You know what I mean?
Good.
So,
yeah. Cool. Yeah.
We're trying to good, but we are trying to do good. Sorry. But yeah. So
yeah, we had people turning up late, even though they were early. No, hang on. No, they turned up late, but they were early for the 8 o'clock stream. But we decided
we sort of misforecasted the time, basically.
Yeah. So they were on time, and we were askew. So
we were ahead of time. Well, I guess let's just remain ahead of time. At least err on that side. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you're going to be one or the other, I would like to be erring on the side of being ahead of time rather than behind time.
Yeah, okay. Well, if that helps us figure out what day of the week we're going to have our show, but I guess as long as we put out that, when did you send me that intro? Because I put that on X and I put it on my website.
The funny thing
6 hours before.
The funny thing is, man, I was thinking about it. I was thinking about sort of like time and all that. I was like, how? So we've basically just been designated. Sorry, if you're a bit tired to get into this and all this, but like, we've just been designated a time frame as such. Like I
don't know. Is that true? Who's designated this time frame?
Well, exactly. This is my question. Yeah, exactly. So,
I don't know. We're floating all over the clock as far as I can tell, and the calendar. We don't know what day we're going most times, but Sunday seems to be stable, and sometime midweek, right? That's maybe that Sunday and Wednesday or something.
Sunday and Wednesday sounds good. Yeah.
If we go regularly, people will catch the show and we'll get more listeners. We just have to keep going, man. But I reckon Sunday and Wednesday, like 8 o'clock or something, 7 o'clock. But what do you think?
The midweek ones are good, man. It's been good today as well. Sorry, I just seen the private chat stuff. So yeah, it's been good, man. It's been good. I enjoyed it. I wasn't even going to do it today because I thought, yesterday might be a bit of a misadventure. But it's been good, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's been 3 hours. Crazy.
3 hours, and it's sort of getting. I wouldn't say it's getting easier. I think it's pretty cool, man. Having a few tunes, going out for a smoke, cigarette, and that's it. Get back into it.
Yeah, that's cool, man.
Guys, what do we say? We're gonna keep tumbling. And just listen, man. I don't know where our listeners are, but the way London is now, I think the whole country's baking. But I mean, under an assault, basically. But hey, man, as long as they got a cold beer, bring it on.
In terms,
doesn't matter when the beers run out, then we'll have a problem.
That will be a problem. We're on 24 degrees. Apparently, we're on 24 degrees today. So.
Oh man, I think it was a bit harder than that. I don't know. It's probably like
not for the height of it. So I had this disagreement with Tara. Okay, so let's educate a few people on something, right? So there's a difference between high.
You settling scores with an audience of. Go on then. No, just sounds like you're settling scores. Okay, educate some people, yeah.
I was just sort of like, me and Tara our mutual friend Tara had this fucking argument the other day. What she was trying to argue was that the sun is its hottest because when it's at high noon, and I was trying to argue correctly, because factually it's correct, that the sun is actually hottest about 3 p.m., 4 p.m., because of the residual drag from the heat. You hit the heat of the peak, yeah, great, but then like, there's this residual drag from the sun coming back down the other way, and that drags. It's just like it's a thermal drag, and it drags the heat along.
All right, okay, that's
and I mean, I know I was kind of like,
this seems like we're going into a whole another 3 hours, but okay.
I mean, yeah, sorry, I sorry, should just go. But no, I was just saying to her because she was so fucking obsessed with this idea that because it's called high noon and because the sun is at the highest at its point in noon, she was Tara is completely opposite. I mean,
listen, it's right over your head. It probably is the highest point of the day. Honestly,
it's not. It's not.
In the Gulf, it was even before midday. It was hotter than the midday.
No, incorrect.
It ain't incorrect. Because in 3 o'clock in the Gulf, I could actually sunbathe, but at midday I couldn't. It was just too hot.
Right. So it makes
with the sun right above your head, man. It's super hot, you know.
Right. Yeah, you might think that, but like it's like if you turn your oven on and then you turn your oven off, does the oven just suddenly stop heating up?
Yeah. All right. Listen, you do a presentation next week because this is another thorn. This is a thorny box of thorns, and we've already had religion already. I don't think we're going to open another fucking battlefront. Do you?
We could just stay here and just keep talking.
No, I reckon I'm gonna chill. Listen, you gotta know when to stop. You gotta leave them wanting more. They'll just get sick of us otherwise. I swear, right? So we gotta say goodnight, yeah.
All right. Okay. So like
we're back on Wednesday, perhaps, yeah.
Yeah, we'll be back Tuesday, Wednesday. Look on True Spoons.
Wednesday, probably Wednesday, man. Like maybe, you know. Yeah, maybe Wednesday. All right, guys.
But like, do you know what? It's like it's really great to have people come in the chat because
that is great.
And it gives us stuff to sort of play off. So like really enjoyed that and like that really great and God bless then I suppose. We're done then I suppose for the day.
We're done.
Music and drinks.
Robert blessing people. This is all changed. God bless. He said that's a new one, man. Yeah. Turn you into a Christian one day, man. I'm just kidding, man. I'm not trying to convert to Christianity, but this is. Now listen, everything I talk about here is I don't have a secret agenda. This is my agenda. This. Do you know what I mean? But so yeah.
I mean, we can be annoyed by each other, but I don't think we'll ever. It's not the point where we'll ever be kind of like so like that pissed off.
Yeah, but I think I'm winning you round.
You're not.
You were those people who I seriously I knew a girl in Tualatin Crowley who was like an occultist in Morocco. She was like a South African white girl, and I really liked her. I wanted to go out with her, and then I said something. I said, "All right, God bless you," and like she turned into like I just pissed holy water into her face. Do you know what I mean? It's like God, it burns. God, no, God, there's no God. And it's like the devil. People like that, you'll be careful. So if you some people,
how is that relevant?
They get into they start coming out in red hives and smoke coming out their nose. Then they go.
How is that relevant to me? How is that relevant to me?
No, it's just one of those things. It's like when I said to you that time, right? I said, what did I say about God? He said, I don't like to use the word God. You said that, I prefer not to call it God.
You're really kind of like relying on that. Like, yeah, okay. I
no, this happened, bro. This is you. Don't be like, you got to be consistent personality. You can't pretend, no, that wasn't me. You going on about.
It didn't happen.
Listen, we better end the show, right? Before we start. Say goodbye, and we're all going to be friends, okay? Cheerio, everyone.
Bye bye.
Rob, have the last word, bro.
Ciao.
All right, ciao.
No
Bye.
such thing as God.